I lost 110 pounds and I've kept it off for 7 years with ease, naturally. Isn't that weird to think about? Like, imagine, pause this and say that out loud right now. I'm not on a diet. I have no obsessiveness and zero fear of gaining the weight back. I've accomplished what I once thought was impossible, and I'd watch other people talk about it and be like, they're full of shit. But it's actually a real thing. What I'm going to do is walk y'all through exactly the full journey of how I got from doing yo-yoing and losing between 50 and 100 pounds every year for my entire life, constantly dieting, always restarting, to truly putting the issue behind me. So if you're fed the fuck up with being fat and you've been doing this your whole life the way that I did, this is going to be one of the best things you could possibly watch. Grab a seatbelt, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and editors, cue the intro. The weight loss industry is a joke. God put us here to be fat. He did not put us here to die fat. It's common sense. Are you truly ready to start your last day one? So for me, my weight issues started when I was a kid. I was a lifetime fat person. That's not the case for a lot of people. I was a real lifetime fat person. I grew up in a pretty chaotic household. I grew up in a single mom household where my parents got married when I was 3 and then divorced when I was 6, and then had time with just living with mom, seeing dad every other weekend. And then dad and mom were living together again in the same household, but not together up until 8th grade. So there was a lot of unpredictability that came with that. And there was a lot of chaos that came with that. There was a lot of avoidance that came with that from my point. So what that did was it really changed the way that I ate. I started having weird food things where I'm like microwaving pizza rolls all the time. I've got go-to things. I'm taking Sun Chips and sprinkling them over the pizza rolls. We're going to McDonald's getting cinnamon rolls every single day for breakfast before school. It was like just a fucking thing that we did in the household. And you combine that with the fact that my mom was overweight her whole life as well, and never ate any fruits or vegetables. So we didn't have fruits or vegetables in the household. I'm going to sneak peek. I didn't eat a single fruit or vegetable my whole life till I was like 23 years old, besides a couple bites of something to like spit it out because my taste buds weren't accustomed to actually eating real food. So I ate a full lifetime of just total junk, right? So what that led me to, all the shit that happened that I just didn't want to be a part of, didn't want to witness, yelling, unpredictability in moods, led me to having weird food things, and it also led me to my first obsession, which was video games. So I was just like a total fat gamer nerd my whole life that was picked last in dodgeball, that played C-team sports. Like, I was just like the definition of a kid that grew up fat and didn't look very presentable. So I started playing video games, and I did so obsessively to the point where when I was 17, my junior year in high school, I played 2,081 hours of computer games, which I remember because it was 1 hour more than a full-time job. Plus, I was a full-time student. So when I say I was obsessive, I mean I was obsessive. And I was probably like 40 to 50 pounds overweight through middle school and high school. Typically the fattest kid. I had a little bit of a lean out phase when I was like 17, and then that kind of went away where I was playing, basketball a little bit and starting to walk a little bit more. But I just never really ate healthy foods. And I ate a lot of food, and I ate for the wrong reasons. And then I'm okay, well, I'm going to go to college. So I was the first person in my family to ever graduate from high school and also go to college. It was like very ingrained. My mom did such an amazing job of I'm just going to college. It wasn't this, is Nick going to be the first one? It was Nick is the first one. So I go off to college. But before I go, okay, I'm going to go have like the real college experience. I've been this like gamer fat kid my whole life. It's so funny talking about this. It was so long ago. I was this gamer fat kid my whole life that's going to go have a real college experience. So how do you have a real college experience? Well, for me, I spend my whole life wishing that I wasn't fat and tugging on my damn shirts and stretching these freaking things out, right? I've got all these weird little like fat tendencies. I kind of see the world through the lens of food and how fat I am, where we're going to eat. And I'm like, well, that's got to not be a thing if I'm going to go to college. So maybe I should go on a boom diet. My first diet ever. I was 18 years old right before going to college. This was like 2012, I think. Yeah, maybe 2013, like 14 years ago. And I go on this diet. And what it just consisted of was I go to the grocery store and I get roasted chicken from the deli, like the pre-cooked chicken, and then like some of the broccoli. And that was like that was my first time ever eating broccoli, right? So I lied. I had a vegetable when I was 18 for that summer. I'd eat chicken and broccoli, and then I obsessively started playing basketball. And then I would eat like granola bars for breakfast, and then I might have something for lunch, I might not. So in hindsight, I was eating like 1,000 or less calories a day, less a lot of the times. And I got down, probably lost like 40, 50 pounds that summer. And I went into college at 180 pounds, 6 foot tall, with no muscle. Like I couldn't even do a push-up, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having the real college experience. Like girls like me. I'm having an amazing time. Boom. But you know what happened was I started going to the cafeteria. And when I'm in the cafeteria, I was like, my goal's already achieved. I've already lost the weight. This is amazing, right? I'm in the cafeteria. I gained that year 60 pounds in one school year. People talk about getting the freshman 15. I had the freshman 60. I wake up, it's summer again, I'm like 240 pounds. So naturally, what am I going to do? I'm going to go on a weight loss journey. And I lost 60 pounds doing some version of like alternate day eating with planned weekend cheat meals with extreme calorie counting and over exercising, just cardio mostly, like maybe doing a little bit of machines once a week, maybe mostly just cardio. I lost all this weight. And during the summer, I just felt so amazing because I was actively going for it. I'm actively going for these goals. I'm going to get skinny again and I'm going to come back. And then I would come in my sophomore year. I came in, got a girlfriend. In September, start of the school year, I'm 19 years old. I gained 60 pounds. Boom, relationship sucks. I suck. I'm a different person. People are treating me different. And I'm all like, gosh, everybody just treats me better when I'm skinnier, right? Everybody treats me better when I'm skinnier. But I'm treating myself different because I'm just binging foods, binging my fucking face off, doing this OMAD 1 meal a day thing of like 4,000 calories, thinking that fasting is going to be the thing that gets me out of this cycle of really keeping the weight off this time, right? End of the school year comes. I'm a different person. Beautiful girlfriend, boom, dumps me, boom, go into summer, do it again. I did that for 5 years. 5 years. All 5 years I was in university. I did that up until 2018. I lost and gained back anywhere from 50 to 90 or so pounds every single year from 2013 to 2018, all 6 of those years, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, in 2018. I did keto, I did juicing, I did extreme calorie counting. Weight Watchers had that 2-for-1 special. You pay once, but you get to watch the weight twice, once when you lose it, once when you gain it right back. I did Kino Bodies challenges. I would pay hundreds and thousands of dollars to join these weight loss challenges. And then I would go, but I'm not going to follow their quote unquote custom meal plans and custom workout routines because I already know how to lose weight. I just don't know how to keep the weight off. But I'm going to lose the weight and then figure out how to keep it off once I get there. Like maybe I'm going to do something extreme to lose as much weight as I can, and then I'll figure out how to keep it off once I get there, never really considering sustainability, never really considering who I was as a human, but instead just changing what I am eating and over-exercising. I was a different person in September than I was in May every single school year. A different human being. I walked different. I talked different. I blamed everything on my weight when people didn't hold the freaking door open for me. I was like, that's because I'm fat, when I'm skinny. It's like, yeah, I did all of it. I did all of it. And you're listening to this, you're like, yeah, but that's my experience too. Yeah, but you're still living it. You're trapped in it, right? I'm going to walk you through the whole story of exactly how to get out right now. And you fast forward to, 2018, I graduated from university. And I go out into the real world. And here's what I didn't account for. Every year during the school year, I'd gain all this weight. During the summer, I'd lose it. So when I graduated in 2018, I didn't have a summer to lose it. I got my ass off to work. And I go work for this company called Aerotech. Aerotech is a recruiting agency, a firm, a national firm. And I was working 60 hours on the schedule per week, cold calling for hiring positions for warehouse labor and welders in Eastern Washington, Spokane. That's where I grew up. And that's where I also stayed to go to school. And I was hiring for positions in northern Idaho that were paying $7.50 per hour. So my whole job was to make 75 cold calls per day and do 4 in-person interviews per day as a recruiter, as the glorified headhunter, basically, for really low-wage jobs. And you can imagine the quality of conversation that I'm having. This is like the definition of a high-volume, high-stress job, right? And I didn't have a summer to lose the weight because I just went straight to work. And I was making like $50K at that point, which was a lot of money for me being, 22, 23 years old. 23, I think. Not really having any money before, growing up in a single mom household, growing up on food stamps where Papa Murphy's was the best place because it was the only cold pizza that would actually that you can buy on EBT. Like, that's the reality I grew up in. We would go to the grocery store. My mom's going to hate this. Mom, if you're listening to this, I love you. We would go out to the grocery store and we would just like grab little pieces of candy and just kind of like eat them. That was like a thing that we did without paying for them with the family, right? And that was just kind of the environment that I grew up in. We would go out and to the hot deli and get like pizza sticks. You know, like pizza sticks, they have like the fried like pizza roll things or like corn dogs from the hot deli to grocery store. Fred Meyer in the Northwest, it's like a Kroger brand. We would go in there, H-E-B now. I live in Austin now, those of you in Texas, like that style, big supermarket style grocery store. We'd go in there and get like corn dogs, pizza sticks. You get the bag, right? And then you pay until you leave the store. But we would eat them and then like throw the bag away like that before we check out. Like, that was how I looked at food. And you fast forward, now I'm working this job where it's like I don't have the cafeteria, so now I'm responsible for my own meals, but I also don't have a summer to lose the weight. And you combine that with this really intense job that I was working, and I blew up for the first time. I went from I'm fat to I'm fat as fuck. And I went from like 230, 240 pounds at the end of my last year to like 275, 274 was my biggest weight in like 4 or 5 months. And I sat at that weight and I just forever, right, the whole time, I'm just restarting on Monday, probably 50%. I did that throughout my whole stint, my whole 7 or 8, maybe even 9 years of dieting. My whole stint, I was always restarting on Monday to some extent. So I'd go really hard for a few months, and then on the not really hard when I was gaining weight, it was like I'd gain 4 pounds, lose 2, gain 4, lose 2, gain 4, lose 2. But there were a lot of Monday restarts in there. So psychologically, it just takes up a lot of space. I'm not even present to what's happening in my own life because I'm just thinking about how fat I am and thinking that I'm going to restart. Thursday comes around, I would drink one beer, have one bite of something, that wasn't on my quote unquote plan, and I'd be so all or nothing, right? And that would lead me down this rabbit hole of just telling myself I had to restart, and the whole time I'm just reinforcing this identity that I'm a dieter. And that's it. Go back and listen to that last 60 seconds. That's some of the most relatable shit you'll ever hear. People don't talk about that because there's so much shame tied to it when you're still in it. When you get to the other side, you can easily speak to these parts of yourselves, and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to be able to share this with you guys. And you fast forward, right? I'm working this job. It's just sucking the soul out of me. We'd get there at 7, we'd stay till 5, and we'd work every other Saturday as well. Sucking the soul out of me. So I'm coming home, right? When I come home, I hate life. Hate it. I hate my fucking job. My girlfriend's telling me that I'm a bad boyfriend. I started playing video games as a 23-year-old. I stopped when I went to college, and I picked it back up when I was 23. Just extreme dissociation. I started smoking weed, never smoked weed before. Started drinking beer, started having a couple beers alone every once in a while. I wasn't an alcoholic, but I was like, would crack a beer when I got home as a 23-year-old. And I'm avoiding my girlfriend because I don't want to see her, and I don't even know if I'd be with her if I wasn't fat, but like, how could I leave? Because who the hell is going to want to be with me when I don't even want to be with myself? And I'm living with these roommates, and I'm living in hell on earth. 274 pounds. I'm going to bed, waking up, I'm popping Tums like candy. There's just snot reflux, acid reflux pouring out of my nose. I'm getting on these weird medications for heartburn, and they're not really doing anything. I'm having chest palpitations all the time. My blood pressure's through the fucking roof. Everything's fucked up. Right? No hope. There's no hope when you're in that position. There's no, you want to talk about a rock bottom. And it's not that I wanted to die. It's that I didn't want to live. And that's a very different thing. It's not that I actively wanted to end my life or off myself. It's that it felt like I wasn't even living. It felt like I was already dead. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm going to be fat forever. And I go into work after like 10, 11 months, a little less than a year of working this job. This was 2019. This was April of 2019. And I'm sitting there, I sit down, and there's just this ringing in my ears. And I'm like, my God, I'm fucked. And I'm just looking around. And for the first time ever, I had this extreme moment of presence. I didn't have the language to this at the time, but I became really present to the room. And I'm looking right across from me. There's a guy in the cubicle who's 10 years older than me. He's bitching about his wife. He's bitching about his kids. He's bitching about the traffic. And I'm just looking at my calendar. I've got 4 interviews. I know that 2 of the people that are coming for me to interview people for these jobs, I know 2 of them aren't going to show up. I know one of them's not going to pass a drug test. I know all this shit. I'm just like, oh my God. oh my God, I'm going to wake up and be one of these people. I'm looking at like my manager and I'm going, God, he's miserable. Everyone here is miserable. And I became super aware. It was like in one moment, I snapped my finger and I could see my own future and I could see who I was becoming. And suddenly my heart starts racing and I sit down on the floor. And I'm like, oh, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And I just lay down and I start unbuttoning my shirt. And there's a rip in my arm, my left armpit, and there's a rip in my crotch because I had gained weight so fast and I didn't want to buy the wardrobe for how fat I was because I thought I was going to lose the weight. And I didn't want to, buy the clothes and throw them away and then have my fat wardrobe and have my 3X shirts, my 2X shirts, my 1X shirt, my large shirt, my medium shirt. Have my 32 pant from when I'm 170 pounds up to my 42 pant when I'm 274 pounds. And I'm doing this every year, right? And I keep throwing the wardrobes away. At the time I had no money, so I'm spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on new wardrobes, especially for work at every 10 to 20 pounds that I'm gaining and losing weight, trying to get adjustable belts now, right? Poking extra holes in belts now, right? And I've got all these rips and I'm laying down on the floor and I'll never forget. I take my shirt off because I can't breathe. It's so fucking tight. And I'm going, I can't breathe. I'm having a heart attack. So my mom had a heart attack when she was in her upper 20s. Grandma had pacemaker. I think grandpa had pacemaker. Like everyone's got heart shit in my family, right? I had like a murmur when I was younger and an enlarged heart. I'm the same, a big lover. Had a lot of enlarged parts of my body, but most of them were just because I was eating too much food. You know what I mean? Don't tell anyone I said that. And I'm laying there like, oh, I'm having a heart attack. I'm having a heart attack. And I'm breathing. I can't breathe. And my boss comes over and I'm just on the middle of the cubicles. Like everyone, it's 7:02 in the morning. The shift just started. Everyone's looking down at me and I'm just on the floor hyperventilating on like a Tuesday. My boss comes over. He's like, what do you need? What do you need? I'm like, you got to call the ambulance. I can't breathe. And it turns out that I was having a panic attack. And I'd never had one before. I didn't even know what being super stressed meant. People at that time aren't like talking about being stressed and how to regulate that. And I just had never read a self-help book, never done anything. I'm just working this fucking job that I hate, right? Didn't know what it meant to have a panic attack. And I go to the doctor that day. I get a visit with my doctor that day because he also worked in the urgent care, so he could schedule same day. And I go in and my doctor, who's 300-something pounds, looks at me and he's like, well, how's life? I go, I hate my job. I hate the relationship that I'm in. I hate that I still live in my hometown. I hate that I don't have money. I don't know what I'm doing. I hate that I'm going to be fat. And he goes, well, yeah. Well, the reason why you're fat is because you're anxious and depressed. And I go, I am anxious and depressed. And he goes, yeah. He goes, you have anxiety. You have general anxiety and depression. I go, yeah. For the first time, like, yes, that is it. That's the problem. The problem is that I'm anxious and depressed. So here's these pills, Nick. They're called Xanax. Here's a little Xanax. We're going to give them to this guy. This guy that's been addicted to video games throughout his whole life and then previously would have considered himself a food addict. We're going to pop him on some Xanax and see how that goes. He's only 24. Let's get him started young. So I go start taking this Xanax, right? And my boss goes, I had like 20 days of PTO, and they wouldn't let me take the PTO. So my doctor writes me a note. I'm like, I just need a second. He goes, I will let you take PTO if you go to therapy and do this prescription. I go, sure. So I take the next week off. I do 5 days of PTO. And day one, I sat there and I popped a Xanax. And it said on the bottle, I'll never forget, take up to 3 times daily as needed for anxiety. How often do you think I'm feeling anxiety in that situation? Every minute of every day, including in my dreams, which is psychotic to say. I am anxiety at that point in my life. I'm not experiencing anxiety. I am anxiety. That was my lived experience, right? That was what life was like for me. That's what the doctor said. So I take 3 of these Xanax as needed for anxiety, and I'm just zonked out all day. But you know what I'm not feeling? Any worry. I don't give a fuck about going back to work. I'm on Xanax, right? And I wake up day 2, and I take probably 4 of them. I think you're supposed to take 3. I think I took 4 because it was a particularly anxious day. And I'm just sitting there, and I remember thinking, I'm like, I didn't have any pets at the time. I'm like, if I had a dog and my dog just died, I wouldn't even care. I remember I said that out loud to my roommate at the time. I'm like, if I had a dog and my dog just died, I don't even think I would care. And I realized it's not that I just didn't care about anxious stuff. I just didn't care, period, about anything. But I didn't feel like I didn't care about anything before, right? So this took away all my anxiety that I was. And I fast forward to day 3, and I wake up. That night, day 2 after doing Xanax, I got some Rolos. So at this point, like in the last 12 months, the first 11, 12 months of working this job, I'm 23, 24, I had not cooked a home-cooked meal. I'm eating out twice a day. My big orders are Red Robin. So from Red Robin, I would get DoorDash. I think it was DoorDash at the time. It was, and I'm looking right at the camera for those of you watching this, not just listening. So I'm not reading this anywhere. I would get a Whiskey River barbecue chicken sandwich, crispy. I would get the barbecue sauce on the side because it would sog out the bun. I would get extra crispy onions. I would add jalapeno to it. On the side, and I would do no tomato because I don't eat fruit, which is weird. Tomatoes are fruit, not a vegetable. Who knew? On the side, I would get French fries plus extra French fries because Red Robin, you get unlimited fries. Right? When you just click the button, you get a second side for free, but they won't give you a third, which always pissed me off. And then I would do a double appetizer of jalapeno coins with mozzarella sticks, 2 ranches, 1 barbecue on the side, and a nacho cheese sauce. That was my Red Robin order. And then I would get Dairy Queen delivered simultaneously. You try to line up the deliveries. This is back in the day when like you would have to have 2 separate drivers. And now you'll get 1 driver that'll go to 2 places for you when you do these delivery apps. And I would get usually a large. Sometimes I'd get a medium if I was like, I need to lose weight. I would get a medium Dairy Queen Blizzard because it made me feel less fat. And I would get like the Heath bar. I got an old person tasting candy, like Heath bar, 100 grand bars. Those are my shit. I'd get a Heath bar Blizzard, add a cheesecake, crumbles, or pieces, or whatever it was. And I would eat that, and I would zonk myself out to the point where, and this wasn't my whole life being fat, this was just this phase, right? Like there were other times I wasn't eating this bad. I mean, I would just sit there and I would zonk myself out into this abyss of day 2 of Xanax. And then I got some Rolos from the little gas station next door, and I put the Rolos on my chest. And I remember I would sleep naked at that time, but I wasn't sleeping naked because I wanted to. I hated it because I didn't want to look at my body. I was sleeping naked because I would get so hot and so sweaty because of how fucking fat I was. So I'm sleeping naked. My sheets just smell like shit because I'm sweat through them every night, right? And I'm on this Xanax bender, 2 days into, taking the prescription plus 1 pill the second day. And I wake up day 3, I've got Rolos smeared all over my chest, like the candy. It's like very old guy candy, right? Or old person candy. I've got Rolos just everywhere. My chest hair's all stuck together. It's all over the bed. And I wake up and I go look in the mirror. And it was the second moment in my life when I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be 40. Dead in the soul. I'm already dead. It could not get worse. I'm already dead. And I looked at myself and I looked like I was on crack. I had the biggest bags under my eyes I've ever seen. Slept like 12 hours. Probably hadn't had water in like 20. Hadn't eaten a fruit or a vegetable in since I had the broccoli, the first time I did the chicken and broccoli diet when I was 18, like 6 years previously. And meanwhile, I'm scrolling on it wasn't Instagram. Instagram didn't have videos at the time. I'm scrolling on YouTube, watching YouTube videos of people talking about, their diets and their custom meal plans and their custom workout routines. And I signed up to do this gym challenge that I just didn't do. And it's just the amount of before pictures that I had on my fucking phone is ridiculous. I looked at myself in the mirror and I looked into my eyes. It was the first time I'd ever really truly looked into the eyes of my soul. They say the eyes are the gateway to the soul. And I wouldn't have said that at the time. I would have thought that was woo cheesy shit. And I'm looking at myself and I go, oh my God, I don't recognize who I am. I don't even know who I am anymore. And I'm looking down at my body and I'm like so fat you can't even see my fucking dick because my gut's hanging down over it. And I'm looking down at myself and it's just genuine disgust. Genuine disgust. Love yourself, they would say online. You just gotta love yourself. The solution is to love yourself. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror going, I fucking hate myself. That's real. And I go into work a couple days later, right? Hell on earth. I come back after 3-4 days of doing Xanax. I just dumped them down the drain. I went, this is not the path that I'm going down. This is not the path that I'm going down. I want to feel. I want to live. I want to live. Then I dumped them. Flushed it. Doctor says I'm all fat because I'm depressed and anxious. I said, what if I'm depressed and anxious because I'm fat? I don't know what to do. I feel so fucked because every single area of my life is fucked, but I know that weight loss can be the catalyst. I know how to lose weight. If there's one thing I know how to do, it's how to lose weight. Everybody does, right? You got to eat less food, move more. Eat less, move more, baby. It's best advice ever, they would say at the time. And I committed to myself at that moment. It was April 29th of 2019. I pulled out my camera and I recorded myself and I said, today's April 29th, 2019. I'm going to save my life. Today's my last day one ever. I stepped on the scale and I showed the camera. It's so old. I've got a big camcorder. I didn't wasn't on my phone. I had a big camcorder. You'll see the camcorder right there on the table when you watch this. And I go on the scale. It's 274.2. And I go, game fucking on, right? And then like 1 week before that, my girlfriend of 2 years had dumped me. And there was all this shit. You got to hear this part of the story because it's going to come up later. She wanted to move from Spokane, Washington to Portland, Oregon. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. My job is here. And she's like, you never do what I want. And I was like, what? Like, how am I going to move? Just move? So she goes, well, I think I'm going to move. I got to go to this place. I just want to be there. So she dumps me. And there's so much more. Like, she dumped me because I was a fat fucking loser. That's the actual truth, right? And so I'm like, oh my God, my heart, I really loved her. Like, I really loved her. But at the same time, there was this other part of me that the real hurt was in the fact that I did not have the balls. I didn't have the courage to end the relationship because I didn't even want it. I didn't even want the relationship. The reason that I was in it was because I was so alone and so low and so down that I didn't feel like anybody else would want to be with me. So I'm just going to keep this. And this is going to work. And then maybe I'm freed up. I'll probably lose weight, get in some better shape, right? She leaves me. And I go, something's got to change, right? So that's when I pulled out my phone. I said, April 29th is my last day, whenever. I'm going to save my own life. And I quit my job. Scary. I quit my job and I moved to Portland, Oregon. Because who's in Portland, Oregon, right? My ex-girlfriend wanted to go there. And I said, hey, baby, look, I know that. And I'm like battling myself. I'm like, I love her. No, I don't. I love her. Would I be with her if I felt better about myself? Probably. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Portland, Oregon is what I ended up on, right? How funny is that? So I moved myself to Portland. It's like 6-7 hours away from eastern Spokane, Washington, Northwest, represent. And I'm living downtown Portland, Oregon, Alberta District, Northeast, for anybody that's ever been there, like in these neighborhoods. I get some Craigslist roommates. I've got like 4 roommates off Craigslist. No money, right? I've been working like $50K and I just quit my job. No job yet. And I text my now ex and I go, hey, baby, like I'm here. Like when you move here in a couple months, we're going to figure it out. And she's like, yeah, we will, right? And I start my last day whenever. I started losing weight. Again, like how familiar, right? And it's a favorite part of my life. Weight loss in itself is addicting. Right? You want to talk about addiction, right? To go from a video game addiction to when I was in college, I got really into drinking. I wouldn't have said alcohol addiction, more like dissociation addiction, to what I would have called food addiction before. But the truth is that food was actually my chosen solution to much deeper problems, not the problem itself, which is a mind fuck that will keep you stuck thinking you're a food addict. No one's ever cured food addiction. It's not actually a real thing, but it's an easy trap to fall into when you're in that, thinking that food is the problem. Food is not the problem. There's plenty of skinny people that eat junk food every day and they're not fat. It's the food is not the problem. Your emotional ties to the food and the reason why you're eating it are the problem. Tough things to hear when you're fat. Trust me, I get it. I know you don't like hearing it. I don't like saying it. And but it is the truth. It's the only way to save yourself. I'm committed to telling you what it will take to save your life, not what you want to hear. And that's very different than the content I consumed when I was fat and constantly dieting. And I'm sure you resonate to some extent. You deserve better. And here's how I did it. And so I moved to Portland, right? And I go, okay, I'm going to start this diet, and I'm gonna really connect to sustainability because I know how to lose weight. I just don't know how to keep the weight off. So I started practicing. How do I want to live after I hit my goal? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be counting calories, right? So this idea that I'm going to like count calories down to my goal and then stop, I've fallen for that again and again and again. So that can't be a thing. So how can I lose weight without obsessive calorie counting? And I go, well, what diet am I going to go on? I'm like, no diet is actually sustainable unless you stay on it forever. So a lot of the people that I was listening to that were motivators for me when I would lose weight the last 7 years in a row or whatever, were people that would say the best diet is the one you can stick to forever. But I'm like, but I don't want to be on one. So how, like when I'm looking at these people that were never fat, never had food issues, they're not dieting. And I had realized in that moment through talking to people that never had food issues or never fat, I started interviewing people like, how do you eat? Why do you eat? What is this like? How do you handle food? And I'm like, they don't live in fear of gaining the weight back. And they have no obsessiveness around food at all. And I'm like, so that's got to be what it actually looks like, right? And I go, I need a coach. I need a coach because there's no way that I'm going to be able to figure this out on my own. So I start looking online for a coach. I had 3 criteria. Number 1 is they had to have lost at least 50 pounds. For me, I needed to lose over 100, but I needed somebody that had actually done it. I don't need some custom meal plan, custom workout routine coach with some fucking app at the gym. Like I know how to do that, right? I can build my own custom meal plan in faster than I can even tell somebody my food preferences. I don't need a dietitian or nutritionist because I knew more about food than they did. I could have been a dietitian or nutritionist, it felt like, right? So I went and I said, well, I'm going to start something and I'm going to call it the common sense diet. And what I'm going to practice doing is living as a healthy person and making the changes internally that I need to not gain the weight back. And I realized finally, I'm like, this has to be an inside out journey, right? So criteria one for the coach I was looking for, at least 50 pounds down, even though I had double to lose. The second thing was they have to have kept the weight off for at least 3 years. And then because I don't want to work with people that are actively losing weight, right? I mean, the way that I was looking at it at the time, and it's just my 2 cents, you take it for whatever it's worth, this is just what worked for me. I was taking advice from people that were actively losing weight, which is the equivalent of me making content on how to lose weight the first 6 or 7 times that I hit my goal, and then people listening to me not realizing that like 99.8762% of people gain the weight back. So I realized my goal was not weight loss, it was permanent internal change so that I could become the person that keeps the weight off. Very different journey, really unpopular. Sustainable weight loss is really unpopular, right? This is not the kind of shit that people like to hear, but this is the kind of shit that actually works. Changing who you are as a person will never be 1% as popular or sexy as keto juicing, alternate day eating, extreme counting, Weight Watchers number 62, carnivore. And the third thing that I was looking for, these are my 3 criteria: 50 plus pounds overweight, have kept the weight off for 3 years or more. And the third thing is that did it without dieting or obsessiveness. I could not find a single person. I looked for days. You know how obsessive I was at that point in my life? I looked for days. I was ready to take out a fucking loan. I had no money. In my head, I was like, I'll pay up to $10,000 to work one-on-one with somebody that had done it. Because personally, I know that if this shit wasn't an issue, I would have everything I ever wanted in the world. But it was just so all-consuming, I couldn't even see the world for what it really was. I was just stuck in my own brain, disconnected from my body and God, really. And couldn't find a single person. So I go, well, guess I got to do it on my own. How fucking tough is that going to be? But that's just my whole life, man. You just do it on your own. I'm all alone. It's me against the world, right? And that was my mindset at the time. And I embarked on my last day one. And I told everyone that I was on the common sense diet. The common sense diet. I got clear on how naturally healthy people are living, and I started telling people that I was a common sense eater. I was prioritizing my health, not dieting, because you cannot diet forever. You can prioritize your health forever. And I started writing out criteria. I'm like, okay, so these naturally healthy people, right? And the persona that I gave to that, the identity was the common sense eater. I am going to become a common sense eater. It's like they don't have any cravings. So for me, I'm like, I have developed a lot of discipline with dieting when I'm really going for it, right? So I'd be going for it when life was easier, and then I would quit when life would get hard and just revert back to all my habits. That's the definition of emotional eating and coping. It's when how you feel heavily dictates how you eat. So I realized, number one, these common sense eaters, the people that never had food or weight issues, how they feel does not heavily dictate how they eat. So that's got to be a part of the journey, right? Number two is they are not obsessively counting calories. They might have some caloric awareness, some macro awareness, but they're not like obsessed with like, I'm 30 calories over. And I was like, okay, so I could potentially, I did so much strategizing. You would love seeing these journals and these videos. You've probably seen them on Instagram. I started strategizing, how could I lose weight without counting calories and without eating the same thing every day and without extreme meal prep? I was like, okay, part of the common sense diet has got to be this concept of go-to meals. So I started asking people, how many meals do you eat per week? Almost all naturally healthy people, again, people that never had food or weight issues, they eat 21 meals per week. They're not fasting. I'm not talking about bodybuilders. I'm not talking about people where fitness is their lifestyle. I didn't want that at the time. I just wanted this to not be an issue. They eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And out of those 21 meals, 15 to 16 of them are eaten with some level of repetition. And I was like, that's cool to think about. So they've got some, meaning they eat them more than once. So they have some go-to meals. And I realized I was already doing this. I just had go-to meals that were bullshit, like Red Robin and Dairy Queen and pizza, right? And eating shit out of the trash. I've left out so many stories. The eating pizza out of the trash can and dumping Windex on it so that I wouldn't, like, I was fucked up. But I wasn't always fucked up. It was like a few months out of the year when shit was really tough that I'd get fucked up, then I'd be less fucked up and do it again and again. And I had realized that I could just build some go-to meals. If I have 2 to 3 options for breakfast, 2 to 3 options for lunch, 2 to 3 options for dinner, and 2 to 3 options for going out to eat, because these naturally healthy people, what I'm calling common sense eaters at the time, they're going out to eat. I would diet and stop going out. I'm like, well, that's not sustainable, because what about when I go out? How do I want to live in the long run, right? And I got really clear on how I could build meals that generally fit close enough to calories and protein that I needed. And now I have per meal goals instead of per day goals. I've got 21 chances to win instead of 7. The path through the all or nothingness is I just am returning to normal programming on the next meal. Not I am getting back on track, because I'd realized, and then I made this one of the rules of the common sense diet, right? Common sense eaters, naturally healthy people, they eat junk food in 2 different situations. Number one is I started saying eat mom's apple pie. What that means is you eat celebratory foods celebratorily. It means that you can eat a piece of cake without eating a second one. And I realized that when there is a cause for it, right? Not just because it's Thursday necessarily, but because it's a birthday, it's a holiday, I got promoted at work, it's my anniversary. Like they let themselves enjoy the food, and the way they do that is they're really present with it. So I started practicing. So whenever I eat, I'd sit really presently with the food. And I'd start asking myself questions like, why am I eating this food? Why am I eating this food? Oh, I'm eating it from boredom. Okay, that's emotional eating. That's not how these people are operating. And I started getting really real with myself, right? Now I've got go-to meals. I'm not counting calories. I'm working on the reasons why I'm eating the food, and I'm documenting everything. So I'm taking videos of myself going, I'm having extreme cravings right now for this thing. The reason why I think I'm having the craving is boom. And in that moment, I go, okay, well, cravings, if I'm having a craving, it's got to be a teacher. And I'd like to listen to someone on YouTube that was like, the whatever is plaguing your life is the ultimate teacher. And I was like, weight loss is the ultimate teacher. Obesity is the ultimate teacher. It's like everything I'm looking for in life is in this journey, and I'm so lucky to be fat, and I'm so lucky to have, and my full demeanor started shifting, and I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. I've got the opportunity of a lifetime to fucking save myself. How many skinny people are running around having no idea what to do with their lives? How boring. How boring would it be to be skinny? How boring would it be to just having never been fat? How cool will it be to have the story of doing all this? What if I could inspire people? And I started going, what if I could inspire people? What if I could wake up? Wake up. There's a whole world out here. Wake up. And I started like smacking myself in the face. And I'm like, wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up. There's a whole world out here, Nick. There's a whole world. You're missing it. It's right in front of your face. You're fucking missing it. I started finding passion. I started speaking, and I started videoing myself, and people said I was crazy. My roommates said I was crazy. Y'all fucking crazy, right? I love you guys. I love everybody. I love people, especially my old fat self, especially fat people, right? Because I get it. And I started just finding passion, and I started practicing embodying people that had inspired me. So I'm just writing down, I'm like, I'm on this self-help journey of weight loss, man. Yeah. And my girlfriend's going to come in a couple months. We're going to live together happily ever after, right? And fuck her for leaving me. Like, that was my main fuel. My main fuel was fuck her for leaving me. I'm going to show her that she missed out. It's like revenge body. Everything was fueled by negativity. I started asking myself, why am I losing weight? And I drew out, if I did not lose weight and keep it off, right? This was my primary fuel. What is life going to be like at 30, 40, 50, and 60? And 40 was the one that really scared me, because in this visual, I'm with my girlfriend the ex-girlfriend at the time. You get what I mean? I'm with that girl. And I'm 40. I'm like 360 pounds probably at that point. Maybe less. Maybe I'm like 300, 270 to 300 still, but I'm just doing the up and down. And my kid's there, right? And my son, he's looking up and he's all like, Dad, don't forget your meds, Dad. Don't. And I'm like, oh, and I kind of get my meds and I'm like, son, you can be whatever you want in this world. You can be whatever you want in this world. And he's looking up at me. I'm like fat as fuck, sweating, armpit sweat for no reason. It's like fall, 70 degrees outside. I got armpit sweat come through this blue shirt. And I go and I put him in the car, right? I'm driving him to school on the way to work and working some job that I fucking hate, trying to act like, trying to be the dad that I didn't have. What if I can be the dad that I didn't have? And instead of being really happy, just fake it, right? And I'm like, what if I can at least fake it? Then maybe I could be the dad and break the generational shit. And my son's looking up at me, and he's like, Dad, well, like, is this what you wanted? Like, I can be whatever I want, but is this what you wanted for your life? And that just scared the shit out of me. And I go and I drop him off at school. I go work this job that I hate, and I come back, and I'm right back to the wife. I got my son, the mom. I'm stuck with this girl that I didn't even want to be with. My son never gets to see a really great marriage because I'm faking it. Because I settled for what I thought love was, because I didn't love myself, and I didn't have the balls to go get him the mom that he deserved, to see the relationship that he deserved. So instead of choosing the mother to my son, I chose the woman that would give me 10% of what I would never give myself. Hell on earth. A lot of people live in it right now. Been there. There is a way out. And then, right? So that would scare me. And that was my running away fuel. And I'm trying to connect with, before this, I'm like trying to connect with what does healthy living look like? And it was hard. It took me a few months. So I'm just running away, just burning hot fuel. And then over time, right? A few months in, I'm like 20, 30 pounds down. I'm walking obsessively. I'm doing my 10,000 steps a day or more a lot of the times. I have lunch breaks. I'm walking. After work, I'm walking. And I'm not socializing. Like this 6-month journey, sneak peek, I lost 75 pounds in 6 months to the day. Literally 180 days, 75.0 pounds, right on exactly what my goal was. And because I was so, with it, I knew what was in my go-to meals. I knew this, I knew that, I knew that. I knew that if I ate this, I knew that if I didn't drink water before or after 7 o'clock at night, that I'd wake up 0.5 pound less. And that's, 1/2 of 1 pint of water. And then you piss it out. Like, woo, right? Fat in the fucking head, man. And I had been really isolated. I'd done a lot of isolation here besides work and besides my coworkers. I really didn't want external influence. So I'm here. I'm like, my girl's going to come in a couple months, but I'm not making friends. I'm in this new city where I don't know anyone. I'd started working this new job, and I just want to spend time alone. I want to be in my own energy. I want to be careful about the content that I'm consuming. I'm not just scrolling, watching stupid shit. I'm like intentionally consuming content that inspires me and makes me feel good about life. And I just started connecting to more positivity over time, and you fast forward a couple months, and my mom calls me and goes, hey, did you hear that your girlfriend, she's moving to Boise, Idaho? And I go, what? She goes, yeah, I saw it on Facebook. And I go, no shit. And in my head, I'm like, I moved here for her. Right. But there was obviously so much more to it. Heartbreak again. This, like, was that even real? Did I really love her? Not really. And, love for her as a human. You know what I mean? And you fast forward, and I just grinded it out. I grinded out 75 pounds in 6 months. I was 274. 75 pounds gets you to 199. Everything in life will change at 199, right? And I had really taken into account sustainability with the idea of go-to meals, with the focus on why I'm eating things. I had built a structure for myself on not just how to have the discipline to work through cravings, but how to build a life where I just didn't really have them anymore. And for the first time ever, I didn't have cravings because I was emotionally satiated and regulated and physically nourished. I mean, if you want help with that, there's a free guide below. You just click the link underneath this that literally walks you through the exact step-by-steps. There's 10 of them that I went through to build a craving-free lifestyle, so I was not obsessed with food. So it made weight loss very effortless. Weight loss is different than sustainable weight loss, but it made the weight loss effortless, and I had zero food noise for a lot of that journey. So click that below if you want it. It's totally free. There's no reason you shouldn't have it if you resonate with my story. And I got down to my goal, 199, after living in Portland, Oregon for 6 months with no friends, intentionally, just totally alone and isolated, right? And I go out into the world because it's time to celebrate. I'm skinny, man. Let's go celebrate. I haven't dated anybody. I haven't had sex with anybody. I haven't been drinking. I have been sitting here doing jack all except eating go-to meals and some bullshit food in moderation and practicing and becoming a new human. And as soon as I hit my goal, reality hit me right in the goddamn face. I went out, started meeting people, started dating, started making friends, and I'm the weight loss guy. Have you guys ever met somebody that's lost 75 pounds in 6 months? I am the weight loss guy. I'm like, just having fun. Right? I'm in my mid to late 20s, my mid 20s at this time, end of 2019, and late 20s. And I'm just having a good time. It's a new city. And Portland, Oregon, politics aside, I'm not a particularly political person. Portland, Oregon, pre-COVID is one of the best cities ever. If you disagree with that, you've got a bad taste in cities. And I'm out there just enjoying life. And I wake up 2 weeks later, 10 pounds heavier, 209. And I am looking at myself in the mirror again every week on the mirror. And I had to share a bathroom too. My roommate's sitting like this, my Craigslist roommates. I had pictures of myself every single week for the 6 months, which was 26 weeks. So I had 26 pictures of me throughout the course of the whole journey. And I got on the scale after not weighing myself for a couple weeks. I was 209, again, 10 pounds. And I go, this was October, November of 2019. And I go, yeah, I'm fucked. But at least I know my problems, because there's a bunch of skinny people running around that don't even know their own problems. Like, at least I know my demons, and I'll always have really amazing summers. It's just winters are going to be kind of fucked up for me because that's when I'm gaining weight and being fat. But that's fine because I can find my future wife during the summer, and then she's going to love me for who I am. Like, so just like it had accepted that this was an issue. And I'm scrolling on YouTube one night, and I don't even know. I'm just scrolling on YouTube, right? And one of the related videos, it's like this bald white dude with this bald black dude. And I'm like looking at the white dude. I'm like, is that the Fear Factor guy? This was November of 2019. And I click on the video. It's this 3-hour video. And it's these dudes yelling at each other. And this black bald dude, he's all like, and I lost 110 pounds, man. I was 24 and I lost all this weight. And then I started running ultra marathons. And I'm like, what? I'm like, is that the Fear Factor guy? He's like talking to Joe Rogan, right? And I'm like, that's crazy. And I listened to this whole episode and I go, that is the most bullshit story I have ever heard in my life, that this man lost 110 pounds after a lifetime of dieting. I mean, it was like, I was like, this guy is my story. And then he started running 100-mile to 250-mile plus ultra marathons after becoming a Navy SEAL. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the most inspiring story ever, but it's bullshit. And he's like, I've got this book. Go read my book. It's called Can't Hurt Me. You want to talk about not hurting me? I've never read a book before. I was like 25 and I had never read a book in my whole life. So I cheated my way through middle school, high school, and college. Never got caught. Never even purchased a textbook for high school or college one time. I had never read a book. I knew how to read, of course. I wasn't a dipshit. Like, I could read on the phone. I could read, something in a magazine. I'd never read a book, though. I would text people. Like, I was literate. I've just never read a book or an audiobook. So I go start reading this book, and I'm like, I do not have the attention span to sit down and just suddenly read this book. So I get the audiobook on Audible, and it's like I don't know, maybe 8-hour audiobook. This guy's full story, right? Grew up, abusive, unpredictable household, father situation. Dad left and never saw his dad again. I'm like, oh, I resonate with that. He was 24 when he lost weight for the last time. I'm like, that's crazy. So was I. He had no drive. He was working a job that he hated. He's in this relationship he didn't like. And I'm like, is God real? I'm like, is God real? Is this me? Is it like, is this, I felt like he was me. And for the first time, I had a North Star. And I was like, that's someone, if I could accomplish 1% of what that guy did, it would change. You got to think, I just hit my goal. I gained like 10 pounds in the last 2 weeks. And then I watched this and read this whole book in one day, right? Talk about obsessiveness. Like, if I could do 1% of this, it would change the way that I perceive myself. It would be more than I ever thought was even possible for me, more than anyone else ever thought was even possible for me. And I go, I'm going to start. The solution is running. The solution is running. I've just got to run. So I start running, right? Right when I read that book, I signed up to run a half marathon. And I had like 12 weeks to train. I had never ran 1 mile, I don't think. I'd played basketball, but I'd never like intentionally ran a mile before. And I went out, next day, tried to run a mile, quit. Next day, run a mile, got it in like 12 minutes. I wouldn't call that running. And then I'm like, now mentally I can run a mile. So then I started running a mile every day. And I started running 2 miles every day. And then I started getting really injured and having nipples bleeding and shit. And I started going, oh my God, running sucks. 12 weeks to train for a half marathon. I had only trained on treadmills, right? And I go, I'm going to be an athlete. And before I even ran a half marathon, I heard the story of this guy talk about when he finished his first 100-mile race and he's middle fingers up to the world and like, fuck everyone, whoever told me I was fat. And then me, I'm like, yeah. And fuck that girl for leaving me. And fuck, just so much hatred, right? But also it was a vision. Like, I could see, and I would turn on music and I would just walk around my apartment. I would speak to myself and I'd go, I am a 100-mile runner, man. I am, the world just hasn't seen it yet. They just don't know who I am, but I know, and it wasn't true. And at the same time, I'm like thinking of all these people that inspire me, like Mike Tyson, right? And I'd be like, they don't know how great I am. And I'm like throwing punches in the mirror and I'm just practicing like these different embodiments. I'm like, what if I was someone else? What if I was a different person? And I would be all like Muhammad Ali. I used to love listening to Muhammad Ali speak, right? And he'd be all like, oh, I'm so fast. I turned the light off and I'm in bed before the room's even dark. And I would just practice, self-motivation, self-inspiration through these other people and learning how to speak. And this is where speaking ability came from. This is where I learned how to literally become literate, how to use my voice, how to go up here and go down here, right? And I didn't take any classes on this shit. And just doing it in the mirror, recording myself, doing it again and again and again, practice. And you fast forward, and I had trained for this half marathon. I had never ran outside ever until I ran this half marathon in Portland, 2019. Portland, Oregon. And I go out and I'm running. I think it's like mile 10. And I'm like, I'm going to finish a race. This is crazy. I'm going to finish the race. I am a half marathon runner, right? And I can't wait to run a 100-mile race, a 100-mile foot race without stopping. How crazy, like at that time, crazy to think about. I broke my foot at mile 10, still finished on a broken foot. One of the proudest moments of my life. That video of me crossing the finish line, I'm like, I did it. I did it. It's so cool, right? In like 2 hours and 12 minutes, which is a pretty slow half marathon. Decent first time though. It's like maybe like an 11-minute pace. I don't know off the top of my head. And I finished. I got a boot on, and I put that boot on for 6 weeks. And during that 6 weeks, I'm just kind of back to my go-to meal thing. I kind of work back down to like the 195, 199 range. And I'm like, I'm going to be an ultramarathon runner. Boot comes off. I'm running like a bat out of hell. Out of hell, right? I sign up to run a marathon. But guess what? Boom, boom, COVID, early 2020, right? But it's the first time ever I'm keeping the weight off. The way that I'm keeping the weight off is by running. So even though I had addressed sustainability with food, now that I'm super over-exercising, like I'm to the point where I started running 20-mile weeks, and I thought that was a lot. Then I started running 30-mile weeks, and that was kind of like, I'm like, I think this is all I need. Like my body's pretty messed up. And I'm like, 30-mile weeks, I'm good to run a half marathon, I think. And at this point, I had realized the goal was not to run every day. The goal was to become a runner. And I was like, oh, it's the same thing with food. I was like, the goal is not to eat healthy every day. The goal is to become a healthy eater. That's what identity transition looks like. That's what it looks like to conquer and to rewire what I call the fat mind. It's when it's not in charge anymore because I genuinely believe this is just who I am. This is who I am. I'm a runner. So then I started waking up. Running's the first thing I do in the morning. And then I do it again after work. 2 miles here, 2 miles there. Obsessiveness, right? I am an athlete. I didn't look like it, but I am an athlete was my internal experience. I sign up to run a marathon. COVID happens. Okay, well, what if I was a 100-mile runner? What would I do? You know where I learned that? If I was a healthy person, what would I do? If I had already hit my weight loss goal, how would I handle this food situation? So I start going, the way you lose weight dictates the sustainability of your results. All the lessons I'm looking for in life to achieve anything came from what I learned on my last day one sustainable weight loss journey. I go, obesity is the best thing that ever happened to me. I started saying that. Obesity is the best thing that ever happened to me. This is my Bible. Weight loss was my Bible, right? I wrote the weight loss Bible for myself. I used to actually say that. And I was just fucking hilarious. And it was so core to who I was. Right? I mean, it was everything. You can imagine. I mean, I was fat my whole life. Now I'm running a half marathon, signing up for a full one, gets canceled. I go to the track alone. I'm at the track by myself. This is like probably April of 2020, right? And COVID in Portland was like, you think COVID is bad where you were at? Look, again, I'm not a political person. I don't give a fuck. COVID was clearly a fucking joke. The real disease, but the way it was handled was insane. And I had COVID like 4 times. And you couldn't even walk outside without a mask on. Like the trails were shut down. Like you were in complete isolation. So I had a roommate at the time, and we stayed up in that apartment and did nothing for like 6 months. And I go, I'm going to go out to this track. You're supposed to run with your mask on. I didn't have a mask on. But luckily I was all alone because it was probably May, actually, of 2020. I'd kept the weight off for like 7, 8 months at that point, longest I ever had. And I go to run a marathon by myself around the track. A track is 1/4 of a mile. It's 0.25 miles. A marathon is 26.2 miles, which is 104.75 laps around the track. So I call that 105 laps. Like I'm going to go out here and I'm going to run 105 laps around the Under Armour track headquartered downtown Portland alone. I get out there at like 11 o'clock. And for weeks leading up to this, because I was running so much, I started binge eating again. It had been a long time, right? But I'm kind of back on this like Red Robin shit. I'm kind of back on this like, they say that you can't out-exercise a bad diet. That's because you're not a runner, like a real runner. And I'd realized I'm like, I'm a runner, so I could eat whatever I want, right? And a lot of these other runners kind of eat like shit too. And then I started realizing these athletes that I'm meeting kind of have fucked up food shit. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like a lot of the coaches are fucked up food shit. And I'm like, oh my God, I have fucked up food shit too, but that's okay because I'm a runner, right? I go and start running, and I'm 5 miles in, 10 miles in. I'm feeling good. It's easy because I've just got my own stuff there. I've got 2 gallons of water. I've got an Oreo Quest bar, and I've got this like these like antacid looking like tum shaped things, electrolytes. You just like drop into the gallons of water, and like every 3 laps, I'm just chugging big sips of water and then running and doing it again. And I'm no music. I was like, it's about like finding the meditation, like finding the peace, you know, spending time alone, like getting to know myself. And I get 18 miles in to this, which is like 75 laps around the track, I'm guessing. And there's this rock in my shoe. It's really bothering me. And I know that when you stop running, it's just so hard to stop to get going again. But I'm like, I got to get the rock out of my shoe, right? It's like 95 degrees outside. I'm sunburned as shit. And I stop. There's no shade. And I stop to get the rock out of my shoe. I take the shoe off. The Hoka Hoka 11 shoe. Beautiful shoe. I dump it out. All these pebbles come out, right? And I'm like, and I go to put the shoe back on, and my foot's all swollen. It's all blistered. And I go, oh, God. And within 1 second, as soon as I saw how blistered my foot was, I go, oh my God, I am fucked up. Just horrible vertigo, lightheadedness. I'm so dehydrated. I'm so dehydrated that my piss is the color of shit. I have brown piss. It's not like dark yellow. It is literally brown because I'm going into rhabdo from how fucked up my kidneys are, from how dehydrated I am, sweating my balls off, trying to prove to myself that I'm an endurance athlete, 100-mile runner running a marathon alone, 70-something laps in, 18 miles in alone at the track. No one even knows that I'm here. My neck hurts. Like every single part, my hip is all fucked up. My foot from where I broke it like 6 months ago still like kind of hurts. And I just take my shoe off and I just start walking to the car. And as I'm walking to the car, I'm like, I'm going, man, this is just my life. This is just who I am. I quit in 1 second. Oh my God, it gives me chills thinking about this. In 1 second, I had seen every single time I had ever quit. The number of times that I quit on myself when I started gaining the weight back. The reality that I had created for myself of hatred and becoming the person that just really didn't believe that I could do it because I quit so many fucking times, right? The person that used to say shit like, I know how to lose weight, I just don't know how to keep that. I'm just walking off. I'm like, it's just who I am. 18 miles is more than anyone ever thought I would run, though. I said I would do 26. 18's more than, like, this is extreme. Maybe it doesn't need to be so extreme. Weight loss isn't extreme. You know, it's I got to keep, and I'm just anything I can tell myself to just not do it. And in one moment, it was like I heard the voice, turn the fuck around. I was like, if I was my own dad, what would I say to myself? If I had a dad that was here right now to encourage me, what would I say to myself? I go, come on, son, just put the shoe on. I'm right here with you. I got you. And I turn around and put the shoe on and I'm just running. And as I'm running, it's like the most blissful experience ever. And I'm having a runner's high. I didn't know what that was at the time. And I'm running, and it's fully out of body. Like I'm blacking out full laps. I have no idea what's even happening. And in these last 25 laps or so, it's the last 8 miles. It's like everything in my life that I had never dealt with is coming at me like Star Wars credits. You know, like I'm seeing the words, single mom. I'm seeing the words like you always fucking quit. I'm seeing self-hatred. I'm seeing you will always be fat, motherfucker. And it's just coming at me. And I'm just I'm processing all of these things, and I'm seeing that I had just had so much unresolved shit throughout the course of my entire life, and I blame myself, and I just developed so much self-hatred. And I'm out here, I'm going, why am I even, God, it makes me tear up telling this story. I'm going, why am I even running? Like, why am I running? Why am I running? And the truth is, I'm just running away, man, because I'm scared. I'm scared. Whew. I'm scared. I don't want to be fat. I want to be seen. I want to be loved. I want to love myself. And I don't know how to do it. So I'm just out here trying to prove to myself, that, God. And I'm out here trying to prove to myself that I'm lovable, is the real truth. And that I'm worthy. And I run this, this last 8 miles out there alone. And nobody knows that I'm even here. So I could just quit, And I'm running, and I just, it felt like that to me, that last 8 miles on that track was the deepest transformation I'd ever experienced. Like I was a different person after that. And God, I'm tearing up right now because it's so, I want everybody to be able to have a story like that. Not a story about ultra marathon running. I want everybody to have a story of like, wow, I want it so bad. I hate that we live in a world where people are fat. I hate that we live in a world where anybody's even watching this right now wishing that could be them. It really deeply bothers me. It really deeply bothers me that that there are so many people that don't believe. That just, God, wake up! Wake the fuck up! Can't you just fucking see that there's a whole world? There's a whole fucking world out here. You're dying. You're dying. How many people have to die? How many people have to die from being fucking fat for you to see that there's a way out? You actually can. People can actually change. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? It's so beautiful. These are tears of joy. Like you can actually change as a human. Like your whole internal operating system can change. You don't have to be controlled by the fat mind. You don't have to eat when you're stressed. You don't have to do any of these things. With the right process, you could stop. And you don't have to do it alone. I did, and it fucking sucked. Like you can actually save yourself. You can actually live. You can actually live. You can actually build a life for yourself that you give a fuck about. No one ever told me that. No one ever told me that. And had they, I would have thought they were full of shit because they didn't do it themselves. Change is actually possible, man. Fuck. God. And I finished this. I finished this 26 miles. I'm just laying there on the track, just fucked up, right? And I couldn't drive. I took the bus. I think I took the bus down there. And I was like, I'm not going to drive because I'm going to be so sore. So I get back on the bus and I come back home, and I just laid there, just like, yes, anything I want, anything that I put my mind to, I could do. I bet you can count on two hands the number of people that have lost that amount of weight and then ran a half and a full marathon in that short of a time period with no running experience. And I'm like, I'm a bad motherfucker. Not in comparison to other people, kind of. It was kind of comparison, but it was more just like I have self-worth now. I'd never had it. And you fast forward, maybe a year of just kind of running through COVID, and I had this really beautiful job opportunity to move out to Des Moines, Iowa, of all places. And I had never been to the Midwest, right? And I go, what a great opportunity for me to reinvent myself. Because I had been, this was 2021, I had been the weight loss guy in the run. Like when you think about the identities that I had embodied fully, right? I went from the gamer to the fat kid to the college partier to the weight loss guy to the weight gainer to the lonely guy to the depressed guy to the weight loss guy again to the guy taking risks and leaving his hometown, starting his last day one, to the guy that is now a runner. Like that's my core identity at this point. Like I am a runner. It's who I am. It's what I do. I'm extreme. And I am the white Goggins. I used to say, I'm like white David Goggins. So he would laugh if you heard that. And you fast forward, and I moved to Des Moines, Iowa, and I go, well, if I could fully reinvent myself again, how would I do that? And I was like, well, I'm going to not tell people that I was fat. Not like a secret. Like if weight comes up or food comes up, I'll say something about it. But I'm not going to be leading with being the weight loss guy anymore. I'm not going to be the weight loss guy anymore. I'm just going to not tell people unless it comes up. If food comes up or working out comes up or weight comes up, I'll tell people. But I'm not out like, hey, what's up? I'm Nick, and I just lost weight, which is like kind of what I was doing. Not literally, but it came up all the time. I would make sure it came up because I thought it was so cool and I had so much pride. And I go, I'm just going to be Nick Jopo. I'm not going to be Nick Jopo. I just lost weight. And be Nick Jopo. And I went out. I was a funny place, right? I dress kind of blingy. I like having rings. I like having good fitted shirts. I like having kind of like tight fitted pants. I'll wear like some colorful shit. Like I like sticking out, because I spent so long not even being able to wear clothing that looked good. So now I'm like, when I see some nice clothes, I'm like, I'm buying them. I'm going to dress up like I give a fuck about myself because I do. So I'm going out kind of with like some West Coast flair, right? In Iowa, Des Moines. I'm in like Flannel City, right? People are like, damn, like, where's this guy from? People would come up to me and go, where are you from? And I'm like, how do you know I'm not from here? And they're like, where are you from? And that was one of the best years of my life because it was the first time where I had full relationships with people that didn't know that I was fat. I had friendships of people that didn't know I was fat for the full year that I was there. And again, it's not because I was hiding. It just wasn't relevant to who I was. Like I got to drop this. I just not who I am anymore. And I don't want it. I don't want people to see me through the lens of having been fat, right? And the full year that I was there was the best year I'd ever had up to that point. Because I was like, this is what it's like to be treated like somebody that was never fat. This is what it's like to not be asked weird questions like, would you ever gain the weight back? The exception to this was I had a girlfriend that I started seeing this girl right when I got there to Iowa. And I was like very traditional. I was like 27 probably when I moved there, maybe a little older. And I was old to not be engaged in Iowa. To be single and 27 was weird there. So the girls that I'm dating are like 22 to 23 because all the 27-year-old girls in Iowa are married with kids. And that just wasn't my reality, right? So I'm dating these girls that are a little bit younger, and I go to meet one of their dads and their moms, and she takes me to their house, and we're there at dinner, and she did know that I had lost weight. She goes, yeah, Dad, you would love Nick's story. Nick lost 100 something pounds. The part that I'm missing out is I'd gone from 199 to like 165 through all the running. So I'm like 109, 110 pounds down. And I'm not really obsessing over the weight anymore. And she tells her dad and her family, like, you love this story. Nick lost all this weight. And the dad goes, oh, wow. Would you ever gain the weight back? And people always ask me that question, right? Would you ever gain the weight back? And I'd always go, no, I'd never gain the weight back. That's not who I am. Do you hear me even saying it right now? That's not who I am anymore, right? I would never gain. I'm different. And I looked at this girl's dad dead in the eye. And I just, for a moment, I was like, wow, this is where I can like really lock this in. And there was like this 3-second pause. And I looked at him and I go, yeah. No one said anything. The mom's like, what? I was like, yeah, I'd gain the weight back. And the daughter's like devastated. The daughter, the girl I was seeing, devastated that I just said that. And she's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I go, yeah, well, we're going to get married. And I'm looking at her parents and I go, when I marry your daughter, I'm going to put my legs up. She's a great cook. She's going to make some fried fucking chicken and sandwiches and French fries. We're going to get delivery with pizza. I'm going to be drinking beer. We're going to be watching the game. Probably gain like 40, 50 pounds. And then we're going to have some kids and live happily ever after. Everybody laughed. And it was the first moment where I went, oh, freedom! Let freedom ring! I'm not fat anymore. Everybody laughed. And then I started joking about it. I go, I don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, I was fat as fuck, man. I couldn't even see my own dick. Everyone's laughing. And it's like, when I started operating from that paradigm, I'm like, oh, I don't have to be enslaved by not gaining the weight back. None of these people that I'm at dinner with are living in fear of gaining the weight back. And I had just been really exercising my way to weight loss for like 2 years at this point, right? And so I just had so many positive experiences in Iowa where I was like, how I speak about this can be a point of connection or can be a point of separation with other people. And when I speak about it, I'm going to speak about it like it's not really a big deal because it's not, and it's not who I am. So I start going, look, I had some great running in Iowa. I ran a 50K in Iowa. It was my first ultra marathon, and it was 31 miles. And I go, I got to run 100-mile races. You can't really do it in Iowa. The running sucks. It's not a great place to run. And I go, I got to get to Austin, Texas. My company would not move me to Austin, Texas until I was in Des Moines for 2 years. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. The Austin, Texas role came open when I was in Des Moines for like 9 or 10 months. And they said, Nick, you got to do 2 years. And I said, love you guys. I'm going to Austin. I quit. Bet on myself. I bet on myself. I know I'm going to be able to figure it out. I am the person that can figure it out. I go down to Austin, Texas alone. This is where all the ultra marathon runners are, right? I get into the gym with all of them. Squatch Frontier Fitness on the east side, Austin, Texas. Shout out anybody from Squatch listening to this. This is where the ultra marathon runners are. Great running in Austin. First summer there, 105 degrees, 97% humidity or more. And I go, look, I'm not acclimated to the weather, so I'm just going to do a 5K a day, 3 miles. So I ran 100 consecutive 5Ks in 100 days. That's not a lot of miles. Like that's for a distance runner, that's a low mileage, but it's extremely high consistency, right? And I acclimated to the weather. I started going, I love the humidity. Like I was born for humid running. Started running more. Signed up to run a 50-mile race. 50-mile race. Okay, this was 2022. And 1 week out from the race, I go, I'm basically guaranteed with my current level of fitness and flexibility and lack of muscle. Like I'm basically guaranteed to get some sort of at least minor injury. So I want to make sure that I have a doctor that I can get in with after. So I had scheduled the doctor's appointment after the race, before the race even started, so I could just get whatever I needed taken care of. So I had to go in and establish care with a primary care, PCP. And I go in, the guy's like, you're running all these miles. We should get you a heart test, like just to make sure that everything is fine. So they give me, little ECG, EKG. They hook the stickers up to your chest. 7 seconds later, this doctor looks at me and goes, you have an electrical issue. You need to get heart surgery. You can't run. And my first thought was like, I am so sick of fat doctors, right? The other doctor was like 100 pounds overweight. I'm like, dude, come on. What are you talking? Ran 100-something 5Ks in a row. I'm 1 week out from a 50-mile race. He's like, you need to go see a cardiologist tomorrow. I saw 2 cardiologists that week. They're like, you could run. For every year that you do not address this, you have a 1% chance of suddenly dying, and nobody will know why. I was diagnosed with something called Wolff-Parkinson's-White syndrome. So I had asymptomatic AFib, basically, an electrical issue, where my heart would just randomly start fluttering. But I somehow miraculously, because you're born with this, never had any real symptoms of this that I had known. Probably I had some issues when I was fat and a lot more stressed, but they had just done that as general anxiety because of how fucked up I was. And And the reason why, because I'd had a bunch of these same tests because my whole family has heart shit, right? The reason why this was never detected is because you can't see that the waves on the little graph are longer unless your heart rate is lower. But because I was so fat, I had a high resting heart rate. When I was trained as a real athlete, my sleeping heart rate was 34 beats per minute. So I had a much lower, I'm in the doctor getting this test sitting up at a 40 beat per minute heart rate. So I had developed sinus brachycardia, which just means low heart rate, which is actually like intentionally through ultra marathon training and distance running. And that's what you want as a distance runner. You want to keep your heart rate as low as you can. Mine had become ridiculously low because of all the fucking weight that I lost and how overtrained I was. And I go, okay, we're going to get the heart surgery because I'm not going to be out on a run, just like thinking that I'm going to drop dead. And you want to hear one of the craziest parts of the story here is, you know who else had that same operation, that same ablation? David Goggins. Is God real? You tell me. Fast forward, I go get this operation, races off. We had the whole thing figured out. I had my whole crew. You got like a crew that comes out and does the whole race with you. Whole race is off. I'm getting this heart operation. And I go in and get this operation. It was kind of a pain in the ass. Like, it wasn't a big deal. That night I fainted and had to go back to the hospital. And then, 2 months later, you're cleared to start moving again. But they go through your legs. They go through your arteries in your legs to electrify, zap, cauterize, weld they kill a little piece of heart tissue. So I've got a little scar on my heart, everybody. How beautiful is that? And I get this operation, 8, 12 weeks later, I get back into running. But as I'm running, it's like the chest intensity, it just isn't there. You get like 2-3 hours in, and I'm like, I feel there's just this reality, even though you're cleared for exercise, they say, there's this reality to like 2 to 3 hours into extreme cardio and long distance stuff where the reality of having your heart operated on starts sinking in. And I'm like, it feels different. It's not an anxiety thing. It feels it just feels like it doesn't have the juice anymore. And I just quit. I quit 2022. I completely quit running. I went, it's not fun for me. Like, I wasn't a runner because I liked it. I was a runner because I was running away from the fear of gaining the weight back and running towards proving to myself that I could lose 100 and run 100. And I would have been the second person ever to do that. Now I got a heart operation. Now I'm not a runner anymore. Pure ego death. Pure death of identity and self. Who am I going to be? And I went into this kind of like sad time in my life. 5 or 6 months, I start going, I've got to find a way. Because there was this slight fear that came in. And people don't want to talk about this, right? It had been like 3 years at this point since I'd lost weight. There was a slight fear of gaining the weight back that came back. Because even though I'm not like binging anymore, I'm still eating a lot of bullshit. The reality to burning like 4,000 calories a day is like, it's really hard to do that just eating good food. So I'm still eating shit. I still kind of have some cravings sometimes. I don't have like this great relationship with food. I'm just like an athlete that eats, right? And I had realized that I can't keep eating the way I've been eating. And I had kind of lost touch with what just pure, natural, sustainable weight loss looks like without over-exercising. I'm like, well, okay, I need to find a way to eat some healthier foods because I don't really eat any fruits or vegetables very rarely. So I go, okay, who in the space is like eating in a way that makes sense? And I started getting into Paul Saldino. He's called Carnivore MD at the time. And he's like the meat and fruit guy. And I go, meat and fruit makes sense. Like, these are foods that humans have been eating forever. If I eat more meat and fruit, I'll probably feel really good and not have to dive back into this calorie shit. It's like, it seems like it'd just be hard to overeat on that, right? And so I start going, okay, like common sense, right? Like, let's return to the roots here and give it language again. Because I stopped talking about this stuff, right? It just became core to who I was. It's like common sense. It's like, let's get back to really just looking at how are non-athletes living? Because this was the trap that I fell into. I'm going to live like a common sense eater, a naturally healthy person. Did that, lost weight, and then became an ultra endurance athlete. So then I kind of was like, fuck, like how naturally healthy people are living. How are athletes living? Because now I am an athlete, right? So I'm like, athletes aren't living like that. Athletes need more than 3 meals. Or when they just eat one, it's fucking huge. They're not too concerned with the quality of their food. They're just trying to get the calories. They need the protein. And so I just kind of had some obsessiveness, but it was for the purpose of a dream of running a 100-mile race. Like, this was a dream. This was hope. This was a reason to live. I had a reason to live. The most underrated weight loss hack ever is a reason to live. No plan will work if you don't have a reason to live that excites you, that gets you up in the morning, makes you want to fucking get after it, that feels like not having it feels like you just got punched in the throat, that feels like something that would contribute to the world. How much would it contribute to the world If I was to film a Netflix-style 3-hour documentary of my whole weight loss journey, because I filmed the whole thing in 2019 and then made it into this beautiful journey of losing 100 pounds and running a 100-mile race, I documented the whole thing. I had a budget that I was setting aside to hire a documentary crew for me to run that race, for a whole team that was going to do, like, this is my whole, so it's going to be my coming out party, right? Like, I'm going to document the journey that David Goggins went on from my perspective. He didn't document it. I'm going to document it. I'm going to show the inside out. I'm an ultramarathon runner. That is going to be the biggest show ever. Everyone's going to see sustainable weight loss as possible. People change. Like that was my drive. I've literally dreamt, I'd have dreams about that. Most underrated weight loss hack of all time. Write that down. Having a dream. Having a reason to live. And mine was running. Then it got robbed. How am I going to keep the weight off? I got to figure out a way to eat better foods. Return to the roots that I had lost through becoming an athlete. The roots of a common sense eater. Let's get back into some like easy go-to meals. Let's return to simplicity. Let's eat real whole foods. These are meats, fruits, rice, vegetables, potatoes, and dairy products, primarily. Experience physical satiation. This became the best I had ever felt, ever up until this point in my life, is when I had stopped running and when I started eating in this way as a non-athlete. This was 2022. It was the first time in my life where I went, wow, food is actually making my life substantially better instead of like being a thing that I have to pay attention to. And I went, wow, this is sustainability. I have zero food noise, zero cravings. And when I was running a lot, I'd eat so much I'd have some cravings. But when I was losing weight, I didn't, because I was eating similarly to how I was now 3 years later. And I was like, there's a whole world out here. Fat people have no idea. Like my old fat self has no idea. Like it's so easy. It would be impossible for me to gain the weight back. And that whole fear of, but how am I going to keep it off through running, just completely went away. I was like, how would I even gain it? How would I even gain it? So I just started writing down. The way I got through this is, how are foods making me feel after I eat them? So I'd be like, okay, 800 calories of beef with rice cooked in ghee with an apple on the side with an onion. How do I feel afterwards? Full, satiated, non-crash, great. Same amount of macros, protein bar, protein shake, protein burrito with the protein, with the just more processed foods, but similar macros. How do I feel? Bloated, lethargic. I need to sit the fuck down. Okay, well, like common sense, my body knows the answers to some of these things. Maybe I could honor my body, right? For breakfast, I'd be like, okay, what's going to work for me? Like protein, oatmeal with yogurt, with a protein bar, with a smoothie, or just fasting, versus like what I call bullshit ice cream, Greek yogurt with frozen fruit with honey. Gosh, one of them leaves me just not wanting more. One of them leaves you not wanting more and feeling energized. And I started going, wow, I can like, the path to having a healthy relationship with food and fixing your relationship with food is connecting further to it, which is very different than a lot of these other quote unquote addictions that I had with gaming and shit, where it's like the path forward is abstinence. The path forward to addiction is abstinence. The reason why food addiction isn't real. And I started speaking about these things. I'm like, food addiction isn't a real thing, because like when I just eat healthy foods, I don't have any addictive nature to it at all. Addiction implies withdrawal. And again, am I right? I would say to, because my old fat self would be like, Nick, you don't know anything about addiction. I would say to my old fat self that would be watching this right now, I would say, would you rather be right or would you rather save your life? Consider that what you have been trying has not been working. Consider that there are different ways of looking at things. It's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about what is it going to take for you to make permanent change in your life. So try it on for size. And I started realizing again, when I'm emotionally satiated and connected to why I am eating, am I eating for short-term pleasure and then feeling like shit afterwards, which is trading short-term pleasure for long-term self-respect and self-love? Or am I eating to feel good about life? Is this meal making my life better or worse? And then I just started picking better choices. Again, it's been 3 years at this point since I've lost weight, right? 2022. And within like a month, I was like, oh, I have no emotional eating problems. I can't, the idea of overeating to me, this is going to blow your fucking mind. The idea of overeating to me became as gross as the idea of you drinking a full bottle of tequila right now. And I never overate again. I've kind of overeaten. Like I've never binged again. Never like really gone for it ever again. Ever. When I started really going, the way I feel is fucking disgusting, and I want to feel good because I want to figure out my life. I can't even like imagine overeating in that way. I can't even imagine having 3 pieces of pizza. Like that it's just like, I don't even want pizza. Like if pizza's here, if you walked into this studio right now with a pizza, it would sound good, but I would never think about pizza unless it was right in front of my face. That's what fixing your relationship with food looks like. That's how common sense eaters are living. It's time to become one. So I go down this whole rabbit hole of really just fixing things, right? And I'm kind of isolated. I start really getting clear on my environment. Like, who am I spending time with? You know, I've got drinking buddies over here, drinking buddies over here, drinking buddies over here. I'm drinking Friday, Saturday nights. I'm like, what if I just like cut out the booze? Like, and it's like, what does a healthy relationship with alcohol look like? It probably looks like I drink 1 or 2 drinks when there's a reason to. The reason is not it's Thursday. It's like having an actual reason. So then I start going out with friends still, but I'm not drinking. And they're all like, oh, you think you're cool because you're not drinking. And I finally just like, fuck you guys, man. And I dropped all the people in my life that were not serving to the person that I wanted to become, the father that I wanted to become, the husband that I wanted to become. And I'm like, I'm such a product of my environment. And I've just shifted. I'm afraid to be alone, right? I'm in my later 20s at this point. I'm afraid to be alone, but I don't have the people around me that I want to be around me. And it's like of my ultra, all my running friends, it's like, God, who am I? Tough spot to be. And I find myself, fast forward a few months, this was December of 2023. And I find myself, I ended up getting my job back that I wanted in Austin with the company that I was with in Iowa, because that guy had left that took it when I was only there for a year. And I had got that job back. At this point, I'm making like $165,000 a year in my later 20s. Good spot to be. I got a dope apartment, awesome pad, like car I want. It's like everything you reasonably want at that rate as a single person, right? And so things are just fine. Everything in life's just fine, except I'm kind of lonely. So I find myself at this yogic retreat, December of 2023. I had never been to anything like this. I'd never even done a yoga class. I didn't even really know what yoga is. I thought you just stretch, right? It's like stretching with the meditation music on. And I'm at this yoga retreat, and it's like a 3-day thing, and they put everyone in this big auditorium, and everyone's like walking back and forth. You guys are going to love this. It's so cheesy. It's so woo. And I'm so out of place. I'm literally like sitting there, and I'm like, they're having you all like walk back, and they're like, just feel the energy of the people all around you. And I'm like, what the like, I want to go watch the Laker game. Like, what the fuck am I doing here? Right? Like, I shouldn't have given up drinking like that. And I'm like, these people smell like shit, right? Like, there's some hippie fucks in here, right? Love hippie fucks, by the way. I say that humorously. I know y'all laugh. And all my hippie friends laugh when they listen to that. And I'm like, these people need to get some deodorant. And I suddenly catch eyes with like the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life at that point. And the whole exercise was you do this like 30-minute eye gaze with somebody that you've never met. I want you to like picture this, right? You're in this auditorium with people that you've never met, and you do this 30-minute eye gaze with someone that you've never met. And I do this 30-minute eye gaze. Within like 30 seconds, I'm like, that's my wife. Within like 30 seconds, I go, I just met my wife. This is crazy. The reason, and I'm like, the synchronicities. I got this heart surgery, and now all this, and I'm at this festival thing, yoga thing, and then like this girl. Now we're gonna get married. We haven't even spoken yet, right? We do this big eye gaze thing, and then I kind of like pull her aside, and we're talking, like having a conversation, and then we spend a couple days with each other at this retreat. And the second day, this girl looks me dead in the face, and I'm like telling her, yeah, I just had this heart surgery, earlier this year. And she goes, did you have Wolff Parkinson's White syndrome? And I swear to God that I was actually scared, because in that moment I was like, how does this girl know who I am? Where did she hear that? Like, that's creepy. And I was like, yeah, how did you know that? And she goes, because I had the same thing too. There's 10,000 worldwide cases of this thing, and me and her and David Goggins are 3 of them. That's nuts. Nuts. Is God real? You tell me. Maybe I'm just looking for synchronicities, because it makes life way more fun, way less dull, and way less fucking boring when you can have some games and play with it, right? You fast forward, I fall head over heels in front with this girl, like to the point where 2 months after us dating each other, it's like, we're going to plan a family. We're like really in it, right? And this was December into January, February, March of 2024. And this woman is taking me into spaces with these like really spiritual woo people. And these are people, I'm in rooms of these really high-level entrepreneurs, I work a W-2 job. I do all right, right? But I'm not rich by any means at this point. And I'm sitting in there and I'm like hearing these guys talk about their past lives. And I'm like, what the fuck? These people are all like, I love this story. It just takes so many turns, right? I love this. I haven't told this story in so long all the way through. It's been years. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, past life, this and inner child healing. And you know, you got to manifest your dreams. And I'm like, it's the way you say it feels weird to me. But I'm like, I feel that because I have naturally come to what a lot of these people in these spaces are like taking classes on, which is like manifestation. I'm like, what does that even mean? I learn about it. I'm like, yeah, that sounds kind of like being able to visualize yourself at the finish line of a 100-mile race when you're fat. Like that's manifestation, visualization. Like what's inner child healing? Well, it's like giving yourself what you needed when you were a kid. I'm like, yeah, that sounds a lot like me running around the track pretending to be my own dad, literally speaking to myself as if I was. And I had naturally come on a lot of these concepts that people had learned a lot later in life than me. And I started feeling very blessed, very privileged for that. At the same time, I start getting really comparative. And there was a lot of shame in this. And I'm looking around and I'm like, holy shit, I am the least established person here. I don't fit in with this crowd. I don't any of this, any of that. And then at the same time, this woman who was a podcaster, big podcaster here in Austin, she says to me, you have a great story. Have you ever considered sharing it with the world? And I go, well, I'm not going to date this woman who's a big podcaster in Austin and not have a podcast of my own. And I'd never posted anything on social media, right? The next day, I went to Best Buy and bought a microphone. Not this one. We got much more budget for this now. Old shitty microphone, like $100 one from Best Buy. And I recorded podcast episode 1 of the Lose It podcast, which was me telling this story, except it ends right there because that was the end of the story years ago, right? The Lose It podcast, we had to change it because the Lose It app is a calorie counting app. I don't know that because I'm not a fucking calorie counter because I'm not a dieter, or like a lot of the people that I was consuming content from. We had to change to the Drop It podcast. We became Drop It Weight Loss Wellness Wisdom, and I just started releasing episodes. And I get like 2-3 weeks in me just talking, just solo episodes, right? And I'm like, I gotta get on Instagram. Like I gotta just share something on Instagram. And I start going. I'm what if the reason why, if I could just find a better story for myself, like my story has kind of become this, like I was a runner and that was great. Now I'm not. I was fat. Now I'm not. But I'm like, what am I going to do with that? Now that I can't do my whole Netflix thing that I wanted to do. So I'm like, well, what I can do is I could share my story in a meaningful way and I can impact other people's lives. And what if I could become that coach that I needed in the world? What if that was actually what happiness was? What if that actually was why I'm here? The best way to change is to have a vision. The best way to lose weight is to have a reason to live bigger than your weight. And I go, okay, well, I got to keep applying these principles, right? What if I could become the person, the voice of reason, speaking on sustainability and weight loss without all the bullshit that people can just fucking do their meal plan, accountability partner, whatever shit we already know. I already done that. What if I could speak to the lifelong dieters? What if I could speak to the yo-yo dieters? What if I could be a representation of hope that I didn't have? But what if I could also teach people how to represent hope for themselves? What if I could really help people understand what it looks like to put the issue behind you forever? And I just started riffing. And I'm riffing on the show just like I am. I'm just riffing, no script. I don't have a script. I just have this little laptop open. I don't even know if you can see it because that's where the microphone's recording. There's no script on any of this. You can tell this is extremely uncut, and that's how it's been for the last 115 episodes of this show that's now called The Weight Loss Hotline. More to come on that, right? If I could just be raw, I could just be authentic, and I could speak the fucking truth, not from the perspective of what other people think of me, because my whole fucking life, including in this moment of 2024, I've cared what other people think of me. I'm in these rooms and I'm insecure, W-2 guy working for somebody else, and I'm shamed because I'm working for somebody else, and I don't have all the language of this ooey gooey woo-woo shit that everybody's talking about, but I've lived it, and I've done so much work on myself. I've actually lived it. I am the actual embodiment of what these people are talking about. That's crazy, right? But I can't really, like, I don't have the, the esotericism to the way that I'm speaking at the time. And I'm like, God, man, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. But when I lose weight, then I'll be enough, right? Who's been there? I'm not enough, but when I get the girl, then I'll be enough. I'm not enough, but when I make $150,000 in 1 year, I'll be enough. If I started a business and then I made $250,000 in a year, then I would be enough. If I do all these things, then I'll be enough. Just put off happiness and joy, right? And that's one of the biggest issues with obesity, is that you think you'll be enough once you lose weight, but that's not actually true. It's the biggest fuck. It's part of what leads to you gaining the weight back, and part of what lets me gaining the weight back every single time. And I got so competitive, I'm going to beat all these people at their own game, and I'm going to become the biggest podcaster in the weight loss space. I'm going to become the face of sustainable weight loss. I wrote that down. I am the face of sustainable weight loss. I have actually done it. And it's been years. And I'm speaking from the lens of keeping it off for like 4 or 5 years at this point, right? And at that point, years ago. And then I start speaking on Instagram, and I've got 400 followers on Instagram from college and some drinking buddies, and that's it. I don't have some Instagram following. I don't know what the fuck. How do you do that? How do you start posting on Instagram? Well, I don't know. All I know how to do is run and have a healthy relationship with food. And I know a lot about internal transformation, but I don't know anything about social media. And I'm like, well, it seems like a really good place to start would be just starting a diet, right? Like if you want to lose weight, everyone's got to go through their dieting and quitting. So I'm like, I can just get all the bullshit done quick. Let me just record a 30-second video. And I recorded a 30-second reel. And I said, when I was fat as fuck, I wish somebody told me that losing weight will not make you happy. No, that's not what I said. What am I saying? That was the second reel. The first reel I ever did was I pulled out the phone and I said, when I was fat as fuck, I was really afraid. I didn't know how to lose weight and keep it off. And now I don't know how to post on social media. So I'm just starting day one on Instagram. The same way that I started day one of my last diet ever in 2019, I just posted it, something like that. The second day is when I picked up the phone and I went, when I was fat as fuck, somebody told me that losing weight wouldn't make me happy. What they didn't tell me is that losing weight sustainably would get rid of all of the noise that came with being fat and all the obsessiveness that came with food when you put it behind them the right way, and that would make you happy. But they didn't tell me that, so screw them. They were wrong. Posted it, nobody watches it. Like friends from high school, everyone's like, what? Or you post, it's like I have like a normal Instagram, right? Not like some like influencer looking Instagram. Like, what are you talking about? And I just picked up the phone, day 3, and I was like, God, show me what to say. Give me the voice. And I said, when I was fat as fuck, I wish someone told me, stop eating bullshit food that fits inside of your macros every day and try eating some real food, because it's one of the first steps to just not really having the same cravings. And the way you lose weight heavily dictates the sustainability of your results. So if you can't do it for life, don't do it to lose weight. And I just posted it, and there were these quick little 20-second videos. And I wake up and like all of them got 1 million views out of like overnight, right? And I'm like, oh no, like what is this? And I go from like 400 followers to I gain about 3,000 followers per day for the first month. So within about a month, I had like 100,000 followers on Instagram. And I'm just every day. I'm like, when I was fat as fuck, when I was fat as fuck, when I was fat as fuck. And I'm just speaking it, right? What's the truth that people don't have the balls to say? COVID was bullshit, but why would nobody say it? They're too fucking afraid. But not me. I will tell the truth. The truth is, here's what you need to hear. And I would just speak it. Come on, give them the dagger. Give them the truth, but say it. Hold the heart, right? Hold the heart in there at the same time. It's not about bullying people. It's not me versus you. And it's not like me versus you. It's me and you versus the problem of obesity. Like, you are not the problem. You being fat is the problem. The fat is the problem. Separate yourself from the problem. It's not you. You are not your fat mind. You're not your healthy mind either. You're the observer of both your thoughts. But we've identified so much, me and you, when I was in that position too, with being fat. I am fat. You are not a wholly fat person. You didn't come out the womb fat. You didn't come out the womb, having a bad day, so then you drink a little too much breast milk, and then it's so much it's like oozing out of your nose, right? And you're like, oh, I feel like I could get sick because I ate too much breast milk. And then the next day you're like, I'm going to skip breast milk for breakfast to make up for it, and then restart my breast milk diet on Monday. It's like, God, man, that's not who you are. But why does no one speak to that? Isn't that crazy that you've maybe never even heard anybody say that before? And I'm like, how is no one sharing this message? Well, because I'm supposed to share the message clearly. I'm like, purpose. I need a purpose to live. Here I am, and I'm posting. I'm just loving it, right? Love everywhere. Boom, boom, boom. At the same time, I'm just becoming really comparative. I'm like, I have a reason to live now. It's awesome. Becoming really comparative. I'm not enough. These other people in this room, they have more. And I became so deeply insecure in that relationship that I left. I was like, I want to do this alone. And I had a lot of regret in the coming months of leaving that relationship. But the truth is that I just couldn't hold it. I couldn't hold the seriousness of what that was. And my focus was all over. I'm still working a full-time job at this point, plus doing this, plus the content. I'm getting like 1,000 plus DMs per day. And I left. And I left. And you fast forward, and I gotta figure out how to do this on my own. It's been a lot of my pattern, right? Easy way to change, isolation. It's harder to change when you're just constantly surrounded by other people that aren't on the same journey as you. So my pattern, gotta change, isolate, gotta change, isolate. Still living in the same pattern up to 2 years ago. Gotta do it alone, Can't do it with other people, can't rely on other people. People only like me because I'm skinny. It's like, shit sticks with you. Weight loss is the beginning, not the end. Weight loss is the beginning of your self-improvement journey. It takes time to figure all the shit out because nobody gave me a fucking roadmap. Nobody's even talking about this stuff anywhere on the internet that I've ever heard. I want to hear stories like this. I want to work with other people that have achieved this. It's hard to find them. And I'm not saying that from an egoic standpoint. I'm saying, like, genuinely, where are the people? I'll introduce you to a couple of them here in a second. And you fast forward and I start going, okay, well, what would it look like? You know, what would it look like to coach, to really become the coach? And I started writing down every single thing that I had done. I went back, I looked at all those old videos from 2019. I looked at all the videos that I had from all the 2012 to 2018 of dieting up and down. I started writing down my philosophy. I got that old journal that I hadn't looked at in years. What is the common sense diet? Like, how can I redevelop things, make it really easy for other people to digest? How could I build this into a system? If I was to do it, what would it be called? How would things be structured? If I was to build a program that was geared on sustainability, it would be weird because most people don't even think about sustainability and it's not sexy. So would people even want to do that? I don't know. But like, I don't have any pressure to figure it out because I got a fucking job. Like, I don't need fucking money from this. If it fails, it fails, right? But I'm feeling called. I'm like, it's the first time where I'm like, no, something is like this is pulling me. I'm not pushing. I'm like being pulled right now. Like, God is pulling me, and there's unlimited drive. And you're being pulled. There's unlimited drive. The word motivation doesn't even exist. Inspiration isn't even a requirement when you're being pulled towards something. The number one weight loss hack in the world is finding something that pulls you. The number one weight loss hack in the world is finding something that pulls you. Wake the fuck up! Find something that fucking pulls you. And it's pulling me, right? And I go and I build this community, and we called it the Drop It community. And a bunch of people start coming in, right? And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And people's lives start getting transformed based off of my teachings. And I'm like, wow, I've like all the bullshit, all the time that I spent trying to figure this out was worth it. All the time that I spent feeling ran by my fat mind, feeling controlled by food, seeing the whole world through the lens of my obesity in the shackles that food had over me was worth it. And I start working with James, who lost like 60 pounds and kept it off. I start working with Mari, who lost like 55 pounds and kept it off. I start working with Nedra, who lost like 70 pounds. I start working with Eric, who lost like 75 pounds. I start working with Lack Minnie, who you've probably heard her. She's been on a lot of these people have been on some of these episodes before. I started with like Minnie, who lost like in Denmark, who lost like 60 pounds and has kept it off. It's just like, and I start going, wow, like now I can have actual impact on the world. And it's amazing. I'm like, this is really what I'm called to do. So I just go all in, right? I go all in. I leave my job, and I'm like, I've always wanted to travel the world, but I never did. And I'm teaching people, and what's baked into a lot of the teaching is, what would you do if you weren't fat? You owe it to yourself to do that right now. Like sustainability, what do you see yourself doing in the long run? How can we live as our healthiest selves right now? And this is the basis of the Last Day One system that I had built, that I put myself through. I was calling it the Common Sense Diet System at the time, but we reworded it to the Last Day One system. So technically, it's not exactly the same. But I started going, how can I inspire these people to live the way they actually want to live in close proximity, like with one-on-one coaching and group coaching? At the same time, I am not doing what I actually wanted to do, which was travel the world. So I'm hypocrite number one in the face of God. Do what you would do if you weren't fat. I'm sitting there like not doing what I actually wanted to do, which was travel. I'd never traveled. I graduated. I went straight to work. I had no money. Made a fuck ton of money in tech, right? Made a fuck ton of money coaching. There's like money's not, it doesn't even fucking matter. Everything I reasonably ever want. Coolest pad in the coolest city, in the coolest state of the coolest country, Austin, Texas, USA, ever. Like, is that like, I got everything short of a yacht that I could, in a mansion that I could ever reasonably want. I don't even want a mansion right now. It's like the money became less about the money. I'm like, that's great. I'm like fully just connected to the pure passion and the pure love and the pure feeling of like, wow, other people can change. And it's just pulling me. It's pulling me. It's pulling me. And I need to go travel. So my goal was to go and travel Asia, but I wasn't in a great spot to do that. So I needed to be in the same time zone for the clients I was working with. So I moved down to Medellin, Colombia. It came down to Costa Rica, shitty internet. Tulum, shitty internet, lots of guns. Visited there, great spot, lots of killings. Or Medellin, Colombia. Lots of weird shit happening there, but only when people are doing weird shit. I'm not into the weird shit anymore in that way. So I go, okay, I'm going to go move down to Medellin, Colombia. So I move myself down there. And immediately when I get down there, I go, I think this was a mistake. I don't think I'm supposed to be here. And but I'm having a great time. I'm like, it's like the coolest pad. My whole philosophy was like, keep everything the same. You can just have the most lavish lifestyle in South America ever. And I'm like, it's a great time for me to just be separate from my whole community and to just really continue to put all of my focus into helping my clients get the best results ever. And while I'm down there, I'm just start becoming really connected to this like feeling of I'm not supposed to be here. And this feels kind of cheesy and woo. It is kind of cheesy and woo. And I go and I'm sitting outside and I'm just like, God, something has to change. I don't know what it is. Something has to change. And I'd been so ungrounded, so just working I'm doing like 15, 16-hour days, right? Not like going full days of not leaving the apartment. Obsessiveness is great when it's channeled towards something that's beautiful for the world, which it was and is. And I'm sitting there, I'm just obsessing, I'm letting myself obsess. And I go out and I'm sitting on the balcony at like 3 a.m, just overlooking the city. Medellin is like a rainforest in a city. It's like one of the most beautiful cities ever, right? And I'm sitting down there just butt-ass naked. And I just take this big breath. I'm like, oh my God, it feels good to take a breath outside. And right when I did, this bat flies right in front of my face, like skimmed the tip of my nose. And I go, what the fuck? Is God real? Right? I love saying that. And within 10 seconds, I go, what if there was a show called The Weight Loss Hotline? And it was a live call-in show where fat people that were struggling with weight loss could call in live and get the help they need live. And I go, oh my God. And I like saw the whole visual of it. And I was like, oh my God. And I immediately pull out my phone. I'm like, that's surely already a thing. There's never been one. There's never been a live talk show that had anything to do with weight loss, which is really, really crazy. Half this country is fat. I was fat 3/4 of my life. And there's never been a live call-in show where you could call in like Dateline style, like Dave Ramsey style, and get sustainable weight loss help with the mindset, psychological, mental piece, and the emotional relationship with food piece, and the diet, not diet, common sense eater piece. Isn't that nuts? And I go, oh my God, well, the reason it's not a thing is the same reason that no one else is talking about the things I'm talking about. It's because God's like, Nick, this is your plan, right? So I go and we start rebranding things. We turn this into the weight loss hotline. And I missed a major part of this story. So right before I went to Medellin, this is important, my back locked on me. So I've always had back issues. So this postponed my trip like a month. This was 2025, like January, February 2025. And I woke up one day and I could not move. My buddy drives me to the hospital. I'm still living in Austin, Texas at this point. And I'm laying down in the hospital bed screaming, thinking that my spine is going to snap. So my back is so locked. I didn't realize that level of pain was even possible as a part of the human experience. Worst 3 hours of my life was my back locking for the first time. And that put me into this muscle guarding of not being able to work out, not being able to lift, and not being able to do anything. And I'm just kind of like laying down. So when I'm in Colombia, I'm just like kind of laying down. The reason I'm not out and about is like my back is fucked. And it's been months and I don't know what to do. And I'm working with this chiropractor out there, but like that's not working. I've just been doing chiropractic my whole life. I had back issues my whole life. I had pain. I'd never locked, but I'd always, especially through endurance running and improper posture and being fat and bent over and having like a pregnant lady's stomach on a dude with big man boobs and like neck fat. And when you have a big fat neck, you'll stick your head out so that your chin isn't double chinning all the time. It's a really fucked up part about being fat. And I had so many postural, spinal, breathing related issues. And after like a month, I was able to start walking again. And I move to Colombia anyway. And part of the reason why it sucked is because my back was so fucked. And while I'm down there, I have this whole idea of the weight loss hotline. And my back just started getting so bad. But I didn't leave because I had a client from San Diego that was flying out to do a 5 or 6 day immersive with me in South America. So I'm just like, Nick, leave. Can't leave. Client's coming. It's going to be a great time. Back hurts. It sucks. She comes out there, and I had not taken a single medication. This is where the story starts getting really crazy. I had not taken a single medication in years, like anything. No Tums, I ain't got no heartburn, no anything, right? I take one Advil because I'm having a particularly bad back day and my client is flying in that night. One 200 milligram Advil, and I go look at myself in the mirror and I'm completely covered in hives. I go, oh shit, I can't breathe, I'm going to die. I try to call 911. Of course, that's not the number. ChatGPT, thank God for that. What's the number to medical services in Colombia? I think it was like 3 or 411. Call it. Guess who doesn't speak English? Them. Guess who doesn't speak Spanish? Me. I can say, soy un gringo, mi español es malo. I'm white and my Spanish sucks. I can say, mamacita, tienes mi corazón. Pardon me, ma'am, you have my heart. I can say, tengo dinero, I got money. Those three things get you pretty far in Colombia. But outside of that, it's like I could not really effectively communicate, especially over the phone. In person, I was much better. And I go, oh shit, I'm going to die. I can't breathe. I should have left. I don't know what I ate. I should have left. When God told me to leave, I should have left. And I end up calling an Uber. I Uber myself to the hospital. I start passing out in the Uber, kind of wake up. I'm in the chair in the hospital, kind of wake up. I'm boom, needle in the butt. I was in full anaphylactic shock. EpiPen saved me. And the videos of that are nuts. That's some of the craziest footage I have is me in the hospital being like, I don't know what's happening, I can't breathe. And I get saved by a freaking EpiPen to write out this allergic reaction. Turns out I'm allergic to an ingredient in Advil in South America. It's a different ingredient set than what we have in North America. Different ingredient set. So I have allergies that I didn't know about. Still haven't identified the specific ingredient here years later. And I go, that's crazy. That really rocked me. Like for a second, that really rocked me. I went, that was a close, very close call. I was wheezing. We were there. We were there. And you fast forward to a couple days later, and a lot of this experience of the immersion is around living lifestyle, the healthy person, right? So at the end of one of these days, my client is getting a nude massage from this massage therapist in Guatapé, like 2 hours from Medellin. Beautiful place. If you've been there, shout out everybody in Guatapé. Best hospitality ever. And I'm like, what a great opportunity for me to get a massage. Separate from her, of course. Different room, totally different massage therapist. I'm just like, little stressed, a lot going on. Almost died 2 days ago, but I'm fine, right? Oh my God, this gives me fucking anxiety even telling this story. I go to get this massage and I walk into the hotel room, where it's like an outdoor hotel room. And as I'm walking in, there's this log, like this like mobile fireplace right in the middle of the room. And this girl's like has a lighter trying to light the one single log. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's not going to light. Like you need some kind of oil or something like a Kinder, right? And, or Kindle of wood. So she leaves and then she comes back with a gallon of gasoline and dumps it on the log, not realizing that the corner of the log was lit. And the whole log lights on fire, of course, including it starts going up the stream, up the gallon of gasoline, and she throws it. I see this whole thing happen. She just like drops it, kind of tosses it over in whose direction? Mine. Whole room. I just fall down to the ground. It sounded like a grenade just went off. And I go, fuck. And I'm kind of like knocked out. And I wake up and I go, man, I can't hear anything. And the whole room's on fire. Oh, my God. And I'm on fire. Wait, I still have my clothes on. I jump on the bed in the corner. The bed is the only part of the room that's not on fire. The whole carpet's completely lit up. The whole couch is completely on fire. All the walls are on fire. I'm on the bed and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Fuck! And I remember going, I'm like, okay, I can't really see because there's so much smoke. Okay, I got to get out of the room. And I'm looking at the hotel. I'm like, I can't see the door, but I know it's right there. I can kind of see the outline of it. And I'm like, can't really breathe. I'm coughing. Whole leg's on fire. I stripped naked in like 1/2 of 1 second. Fastest I've ever gotten naked. Still proud of that. But I'm fully, like my skin, my whole leg's all burned up. And I'm like, I got to get out. So I go 3, 2, 1 on 3. I go 1, 2, right on 2. 2 people run in with fire extinguishers, put the fire out. I run out. I'm naked in Guatapé on the side of this beautiful mountain with burns all up and down my legs, 2nd-degree burns. And I go, there's kind of a point. I'm still scarred from this, like physically scarred. My whole leg was completely burned. And I go, there's a point where like things are getting weird, right? It's completely lit on fire. And my client's kind of freaked out too. Like there was a lot. So I go to Colombia's funny. Like you don't have to go to the hospital for that. You go to like the pharmacy, and in the back of the pharmacy, they have basically little mini hospitals and urgent cares where the pharmacist just takes care of you. So I'm in there getting things wrapped up the next couple times throughout the day. And then that was it. And I was like, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Now, 2 days after that, there was a 6.3 magnitude earthquake, which is the biggest earthquake Colombia has had in 10 years. Nobody, I don't believe, was harmed in the city, and the country is well set up for earthquakes in the mountains. But I was like, there's a point where you leave. The travel dream, it's not now. What I'm looking for is not in another place. It's in myself. And I go back to Austin. I'm a little shook up, right? I'm like feeling a little Final Destination. You're looking around like what, you're looking 3 times before you turn the oven on or cross the street. And I'm like, this kind of shit fucks people forever. Like, I surrender. If I die, I die. I'm not afraid to die. I surrender. I'm not looking 3 times before I cross the street. Like, I'm dropping all the obsessiveness. And I came back to Austin in maybe June after like 4 months or so of 2025. So about 1 year before this is recorded right now in June of 2026. So about 1 year ago, June 2025, came back to Austin, Texas. And when I came back, I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I'm back. We're just going to return to this. Like, I'll figure out travel. I'll get married and then go figure out travel later in life. It's good. I've got my mission. I've got this. I've got my clients. I've got my social media. I've got the show. I've got this idea for the hotline. Like, there's a lot of hot shit here. What is Asia going to do for me? Right? And at this point, I'm in my younger 30s now. And I'm like, I don't need to go travel the world. Like I've lived a lot of life for my age. So I come back and I'm back on mission. I'm feeling grounded. Take me like 2 or 3 days to like find myself for a second, get my shit back together. Got into an Airbnb for a few months, another Airbnb for a few months. And then I finally go to get a lease. Right when I go to get my damn lease at the place that I wanted to live, my back locks on me again. I've never experienced. After the previous hospitalization, I was in the hospital for like 3 days the first time it locked. They thought I was paralyzed at first. I've never experienced the kind of prolonged pain that came with this second lock. And when it locked, maybe September of 2025, I couldn't sleep. I had to sleep on the floor. I got a Japanese tatami mat. I'm talking real hippie shit, right? Sleeping right on the floor. Can't get up. It would take me about an hour to get out of bed in the morning. I had a piss bottle for 4 months. It was horrible. And I'm really trying to do it naturally. I'm really like, what ended up happening was I have pattern-related discs bulging. So I have L3, L4, L4, L5, and L5S1. L5S1 was pressed on the sciatic nerve, so my leg was all fucked up. And I just couldn't walk. I couldn't stand up straight. My pelvis was interiorly rotated, and life was just about as bad as it possibly could get. And I started seeing everything through the lens of my back issues. And I'm like, what a familiar feeling. Kind of like seeing everything through the lens of how fucking fat you are, right, Nick? And all the food and the dieting. And I wish things were different. And I wish I didn't have these back issues. And I wish I didn't have these back issues. And I wish I didn't have these back issues. And my relationship to spirituality and religion at the time was very like highest self and world based. So I would pray, meditate to my highest self, to the world, to whoever's listening. There was like an element of being agnostic that was tied to that as well. But I had a lot of presence in my life, and I'm just sitting there on the floor one time. And I mean, to give you an idea of how fucked this was, I just completely stopped posting on social media. Completely stopped the show. I'm like, I can't. I look like I did crack. I'd sleep in like 2 hours per night and then 15 here, 15 here, 15 here. I'm showing up with bad energy. I'm saving all of my energy for my existing clients. Not even taking on new clients. I went like 4 or 5 months, no new clients in the practice of the Last Day One Club at all. Just existing people. Like, they need all my energy. These are the people that I'm here to serve. And in life of service to other people, God willing, please heal my back. And everyone's still getting great transformations. People don't really know what's wrong. People are like, Nick, why aren't you posting? And I'm just like, I'm just focusing on coaching. I'm not posting. And it's and yeah, the truth is that I didn't want people to know how much I was struggling. And there's a little bit of shame in that. Like, I just didn't want people to know how fucked my body actually was. And I also didn't know that it was possible to be as fucked up as I was physically. And as I'm sitting there just feeling horrible for myself, right? And I finally go, I did all this PT. I did a bunch of chiropractic. I did PRI, Postural Restoration Institution, which is learning diaphragmatic breathing. Actually was way more effective than anything I'd done before. And I finally go and talk to a doctor, and I'm like, look, I cannot operate as a human anymore. I couldn't drive. I could not sit down. I could not sit down for 10 seconds because my back would start freezing on me. So I went months without driving, and I was extremely isolated. What I'd realized was not being able to move creates a lot of rumination. You get really stuck in your head. It's very difficult to get out of your head when you can't move, right? And how can I reframe this as an opportunity to master this part of my mind that hasn't been in the driver's seat in a while? It's the part that I call the fat mind, the self-defeatist. I feel bad for myself. I'm like, God, man, like I thought I was past it, and then just the hardest shit in life gets thrown at me. I literally can't imagine it being worse. Can't have sex, can't move, can't even take care of myself at all, right? And man, God, what a time. What a time. Let me tell you, what a time. And I'm still grieving, like this whole, didn't do this travel thing at this point too. And I talked to a doctor, and the doctor goes, well, you should get surgery, but you don't need to. If your leg goes numb, you need to. So I come home, and throughout the previous couple months, I had found a God, and I had started developing a relationship with Jesus, which was very different than how I was operating before. And I was brought down to my knees, and mostly because I just literally physically could not get up or move. And I just said, God, if you're real, so Jesus specifically, if you're real, I'd love to develop a relationship with you. Please save me. Please. I recognize that I am not the highest authority in my life. I recognize that I am not the highest authority in my own life. Wake up, Nick! I'm not the highest authority in my life. Wake the fuck up! There's so much more happening than you could possibly imagine. God, please show me. Please show me how to work through this. Please, I will be a man of God. I will develop a relationship with Jesus. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a Bible absolutist. Do I think the Garden of Eden was a real, actual place? I think probably not, right? Do I think that a lot of these things were meant to be taken literally? No. If they were meant to be literally, would Jesus have spoken literally? Yes. Why did Jesus speak in parables? Because they probably weren't meant to be literally. That's just my personal belief. Take for it whatever you want. I think Christianity is great. I think that religion is great. For me, I'm focused on having a personal relationship with Jesus as a role model and as a higher authority in my life than myself. I love the Gospels. I have not read the entirety of the Bible. I love the Gospels. That's where I'm at. That's the level of surrender that works for me and that works for my contribution to the world. I think the Gospels are the best books ever written. And out of every book that I've read, have had the biggest impact on me when it comes to surrendering, especially with the back, right? I've been carrying the weight of everything. All of it, what really feels like the weight of every single fat person in the world on my shoulders. I would wake up and feel the weight of every single fat person in the world. And I'd look at myself in the mirror and say, I'm here to cure and show people how to cure obesity naturally. And that's a heavy weight, right? But I was not thinking that was coming from God. I'm thinking that's coming from me. And as soon as I had just said, God, that's on you. We can do it together. Thank you. Please show me how. I'm here to live this path of service and other people. My biggest regret in life is not finding God sooner. My biggest regret in life is trying to take it all on for myself. My biggest regret in life is the literal tension in my body that has come from push with some pull, and that pull was God, followed by a lot of fucking push. And truly surrendering, true surrender. No fear of death, no fear of failure, no fear of not having, no fear of not being loved, no fear of not being enough. I am enough in my own eyes, and I'm enough in the eyes of God. If there's one thing that I've learned through a full lifetime of losing weight and then quitting and gaining it back and hating myself, physically hating myself, but on a soul level having a deep hatred for who I am, it's that you can choose what you believe. You have the power to choose what you believe. Does what you believe actually serve you in service of other people or no? If it doesn't, you should really consider changing what you believe about yourself and putting on some other things, and trying on some different beliefs for size. It's the best decision that I have ever made. The more that I work with people, years now of coaching sustainable weight loss and seeing lasting results from the people that have achieved it that I was working with earlier, a lot of people still on the journey. There's not a lot of people that are guiding people through 50, 100 plus pound journeys, right? There's a lot of like, lose 15 pounds, get your abs, get your that. Like really going through the full journey takes a little bit of time. It can take a year to get that weight off, a year and a half. And those initial people that I were working with that are sustaining their results now, when you look at it, it's like the people that see a lot of success are the people that have a spiritual inclination, whether that shows up religiously or spirituality-wise, it doesn't matter, but have a connection with the power that is bigger than themselves, because it takes a lot of the weight off of the journey. It takes a lot of the weight off of the journey, and it's much easier. It's much easier to connect with God or your higher self or the world or Mama Gaia, if you're into that kind of shit. It's much easier to have a spiritual connection when you are not fat, because the reality is that 99% of your time, right? And old Nick, I'm speaking to me. 99% of your time is you wishing that you weren't fat, thinking about food obsessiveness, how many calories are in this, restarting this. I don't like the way my gut looks when I'm hanging down on her. My heartburn, oh my God, I hate my job. I wish things were different. That's not presence. That's not God, right? That's not you being present to God. That's you being disconnected from yourself. The reason why Jesus says gluttony is a sin, again, it's just my personal views. The lesson is the same whether you identify as a Christian or a whatever different sects there are. The reason why gluttony is a sin is because gluttony, defined as overeating, overindulgence, disconnects you. Sin, defined as disconnects you from God. Gluttony, Jesus saying the kingdom of God is inside of you, which means gluttony is a sin, which means overeating disconnects you from the kingdom of God inside of you, which means overeating disconnects you from yourself, which is why it's a sin, which is why every single spiritual or religious text talks about overeating and overindulgence. There's a reason why. Weight loss is the most spiritual journey you can ever embark on. Every single thing that you're looking for in life is in the journey of sustainable weight loss. Every single thing you're looking for in life is in the journey of sustainable weight loss. If you have a connection to God right now, you have spirituality in your life right now, it will only be more real for you. How much more connected to a higher power, how much more surrendered would you be, not dealing with all of the noise that comes with being fat? And that's real. And people argue me on this all day online. Well, Nick, that's bullshit that you say that because Buddha was fat. Buddha was not fat. That's a false depiction. Google that. Buddha was depicted as fat because being fat at the time was a representation of wealth, which is not how we live anymore, because we are one of the first generations where being fat is actually depicted as just not being healthy. In the past, being fat was people don't have the money to afford that kind of food. Now we exist in so much abundance that we can eat whatever we want. You can never work a day in your life and still survive and live a pretty decent life here in the United States. You can get on food stamps. You can get on government assistance. You got to be sober. But if you're sober, you can do those things right now, and you can live in a home with other people and never work a day in your fucking life. You can work some bullshit here and kind of do that. You never really actually work, and you will survive. Isn't that great? We were one of the first people where that's the case. And what we've chosen to do is drown ourselves out in food to feel a certain way or to not feel a certain way. I'm stressed, so I eat. I'm bored, so I eat. I'm elated, so I eat to keep it going. I'm so disconnected from myself that I'm not able to prioritize what I'm actually here for. I'm so disconnected from my mission in life that I'm not able to feel the connection between this overindulgence and me choosing food instead of choosing myself or choosing God or my purpose. Obesity is a spiritual issue, and you know that it is. Most people don't get this message, right? Out of all the people that will watch this, very few people will really genuinely get the message. Oh, that's great, Nick. The reason that you lost weight is because you were a distance runner. I don't want to be a distance runner. If that's what you really get out of the story, go back and listen to it again. The reason, Nick, that you lost weight is because you're super disciplined and I'm not disciplined. You want to hear the biggest joke of the whole thing? I went forward to pray. I started praying. And I said, God, should I get the back surgery or not? This was December of 2025. And God didn't answer the question. Right? When I pray, there are times where I will literally hear back, no answer. And I stand up, and the moment that I stood up, my leg went completely numb and I fell down to the floor. Couldn't walk. Couldn't take a single step after that, which is exactly what the doctor said would happen. That would cause me to need to get the surgery. The next thing to go after leg numbness is bladder numbness that never returns after a few hours. So I get the surgery 1 week later, go through the full recovery of that shit. At this point, I had gone 16 or 17 months of not working out, from back pain to 2 locks to no surgery, to getting surgery. Before that, I had gone through heart surgery, from a runner to a not runner with a 3-month period of not working out. So over the course of my journey, I've gone 20 months of not working out. 15 or 16 of those were consecutive, and I didn't gain a single pound. Why did I not gain a single pound? It's not because I'm disciplined. It's not because I'm just saying no to the food. It's because there's not a heavy correlation between how I feel and how I eat. So when I'm laying there in the most pain I've ever been in, even when I'm not in pain, I'm just laying there and just like the wallowing of like, God, I literally can't move. The last thing I want to do is get a fucking Dairy Queen Blizzard. But when I was fat, that's what I would have done. I would have gained 50 pounds in any of those situations, at least. So then people, Nick, you just exercise yourself to weight loss. I didn't exercise myself to permanent results, and you won't either. You can't exercise for weight loss. You can exercise for a goal. You can exercise to be healthy, right? I was exercising because I wanted to run a 100-mile race. I wasn't exercising for weight loss. Like, yes, it was a part of the maintenance strategy to some extent, but had I not had the healthy relationship with food that I needed, should I still be eating my feelings? Do you think that I would have kept the weight off with such ease? Of course not. And people will be like, I told you sustainable, you should have just done Ozempic. What the fuck? My God, man. Like, what are we even talking? You're going to take Ozempic? Like, you're going to rob yourself? You're going to say to God, hey, God, this is too hard for me to do. I can't deal with it, so stick the needle in my fucking leg. And I love you. Like, I'm not for or against Ozempic. If that pisses you off, feel my heart at the same time. Ozempic cannot be the means to losing weight. It can be a tool to aid your weight loss. If it is, you still need to take a sustainable approach. Most people take Ozempic and then they just keep eating the way they're eating, but they eat less, so they lose weight. Then they live in fear of gaining the weight back if and when the side effects get too weird, they lose access or they stop taking it or they can't afford it. They never experience the inside-out change, which is what sustainable weight loss is. Ozempic is an outside-in approach. I'm going to change what I am eating to lose weight versus an inside-out approach. I'm going to change who I am being, my relationship to the substance, which is food, which is one that I need to master because I need to eat it 3 times a day so that I can experience permanent external results. That's sustainable weight loss. Everybody knows how to lose weight. Very few people know how to keep the weight off. I'm trying to give you guys everything that you can right here, but do not be lost in thinking that I disciplined myself here and that I'm still existing in these hyper-disciplined states for 7 years. It's not the truth. Do not miss the story. If you're one of the people that's really hearing what I am saying, that means that there is a shot for you. Do not lose hope. Sustainable weight loss is possible. I went forward and I got this surgery. I came out of the surgery and I went, now it's time to launch the weight loss hotline. We're only 3 weeks into doing the live element of this show. So we do a couple episodes every week. One of them is live. So you can call in and speak to me directly on a live call that is broadcasted out with a radio show. Like, how fucking cool is that? Isn't that cool? And like when you hear, do you hear how much I love this? Do you hear how much I love this shit? Do you think that I would ever gain the weight back? And why do you not think so? Because I'm not the same human being that I was when I was fat. And when I started trying to act all healthy, I felt like I was an imposter. Like, this isn't me, I'm just faking it. I'm not really healthy. The truth is that you're an imposter right now. You're not a fat person. You were not born fat. You are playing, old Nick, speaking directly to you, fat Nick, you're playing a role right now in hiding from the fucking truth. You are a healthy person. You are a healthy person. Wake up! My God, wake up, please. Please lose weight. We need a collective climb in consciousness, and fat people can save the world. Fat people can save the world, and the way that you can do it is by saving yourself from your own obesity, thus creating a world that you actually want to live in, not living in your personal prison on earth. Just fuck, I wish everything, I can't even fuck my wife anymore. I used to pop Viagra. I personally kept Viagra in business when I was in my 20s because my testosterone levels were 245 nanograms per deciliter. Most of y'all that are 80 got better testosterone than me. There's so much shit storm happening. We got AI right here. Nobody knows what's going to happen or if anyone's going to have a fucking job. We got wars all over the place. We got World War III popping up. Who even knows if our votes matter? We got politics here. We got fucking people that were liberal 5 years ago are now considered conservative because things have shifted and we're getting pushed out to these fucking extremes. We're losing commonality with each other. And we got half the population walking around wishing that they weren't fat. We need your mind. We need your soul on the side of people that have the mental capacity to make a change in the fucking world. It starts with you. Any single thing that you give a fuck about, you will give a more fuck about it when you lose weight. Don't you want to say that? Don't you want to say what I just said and mean it? Practice saying that. Go back and say it again. Practice speaking with the level of passion that I just spoke with and feel how it like lights you up. That's you. We need you. You cannot be fat anymore. You're not fat because of menopause. You were fat before you went through menopause because you were fat when you had healthier hormones before. You have a bunch of PCOS issues because you were overweight. You have to, God, guys, I know that sucks to hear. It sucks to say. My commitment is not to telling you the feel-good shit. It's to telling you the truth. You were overweight before you had these issues. You have to address permanent change with awareness of how the fuck you got here in the first place. Please, I will lay my life on the line for you to lose weight. I am willing to die for the belief that you can change. Please change. Please change. Here's how you do it. There's 3 things. Number 1, to summarize this whole journey, you need to fix your relationship with food. It sounds cheesy and it sounds really medical. What that means is that there cannot be a heavy correlation between how you feel and how you eat. So long as there is, you'll always quit and nothing will be sustainable. So you'll lose weight when life is good, and then you'll quit and gain the weight back when life gets really hard, which makes things not sustainable. You have to fix your relationship with food. The way that you fix your relationship with food is by fixing your relationship with your own emotions, because your relationship with food is reflective of your relationship with your own emotions or with yourself. You don't have the emotional capacity to sit with uncomfortable or unsafe feeling emotions. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is you need to rewire your fat mind. Your fat mind is the part of you that says shit like, I always quit, or this is just who I am. I always sabotage myself. It's your beliefs, it's things that you believe about yourself. I am blank mixed with your patterns of all or nothingness, your patterns of on again, off againness, your patterns of one bite leading to a full pizza, leading to a restart, one bite leading to a full pint, leading to the Walmart pint. But like, maybe I just get the Walmart pints, are cheaper per serving, right? It's a part of you that's like, well, maybe instead of Ben and Jerry's, I should just eat Halo Top because that's inside of my macros. That's missing. Number 3, common sense. You got to stop dieting and you have to start the common sense diet and become a common sense eater. You have to become a common sense eater. And you've heard me sprinkle in all these things. That's the actual path. If you want help, if you're truly done, not if you're like, yeah, it would be nice, Nick. If you're truly fucking done, join the Last Day One Club to start your last day one ever. You can click the link below and I will guide you through the journey. Sustainable weight loss is possible. Keep hope alive. The world is so ready for you to save yourself from this issue. And that's actually possible. Somebody told me that sustainable weight loss is actually possible. It would have saved me years of hating myself into results that were never even permanent in the first place. Say that again. Years of hating myself into results that were never even permanent in the first place. We're just getting started with the Weight Loss Hotline. And if y'all want to support the show, leave a like or a subscribe. And I'm honored to have you here as a listener. See y'all next week.